The thing is, I don't know if I try and knock a nail into it, it's just going to go straight, just break all that stuff that's bent off already.
Shouldn't do.
But Rusty, who built the whole studio, he's in a few weeks' time, ish, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, back from Wales.
Well, yeah, I met him on Saturday.
Oh,
in here, start talking about the building out of downstairs, Mr. the Joe. So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine Tuesday afternoon. I've lost all track of time.
Yeah.
I don't know what day it is. For another Liam, Tom and Joe show. People have gone mad already with the gifts. Thank you so much. But we are here to talk about a little bit about Adepticon, but I feel like a lot of people will be talking about Adepticon. So we're also here to talk about the thing they've shown off so far, which you put in things like immediately and got excited by.
yeah.
If you haven't already, please make sure you smash all those magical YouTube buttons first. Hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Smash subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification icon if you want to be notified every single time we go live or drop a new video. Now, before we jump on, I didn't want to do a generic what we hope for Adepticon because I feel like loads of people will be doing that. They did actually put an article out, the one that was why I ranted a little bit yesterday about a 2 a.m. fucking reveal show again.
Can I say that we should probably just accept that that's just the norm?
Nope, I'll rant about it every time they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like I've just accepted it now.
Nope.
I just feel sometimes the Games Workshop are very much like that old, reliable dog that's on death's door.
Crackling and very loud mics. Oh, they're quieter than they were all last week. Do I need to go and have a look? The bar looks fine there. It looks quieter than it normally is.
Is your speaker or your headphones?
Are you going deaf?
Mic crackle for sure. Oh. I don't understand.
Have you been playing around with the cables on the back? You did unplug it all and then plug it back together, didn't you?
We do that every show though.
Yeah, but all this, you moved it. It was
hang
over
on,
there.
Hang on, chat. Hang on. You could talk, Joe.
Yeah. Anyway, Games Workshop is very much like that old reliable dog that's going to die soon. You just don't it's going to just shit on the floor. You know it's just going to do annoying things, but you can't be upset with it. You just accept the fact.
Did I see they've also swapped it again from going pre-recorded to live again? So they swapped it for the 5th time now.
I think so. I didn't read that bit.
They're doing live this time. I just can't remember if it was pre-recorded the previous time.
Well, the thing is that they kind of sometimes it's pre-recorded, sometimes it's pre-recorded, sometimes it is live, sometimes it's like it's a live video, but they just play a recorded one, so people can chat in the stream.
I think they said they can do live this time, which is I don't know why. They just I swear they just flip a coin every time, see if they want to do live or pre-recorded.
I think the problem with their live stuff is that games on video, none of the people presenting know how to show enthusiasm for anything.
It's all, I guess part of that is because they've seen it all for 6 months
Yeah,
before.
but we've always said have people on the streams who haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Or get a guest on.
Yeah, I thought they actually did a good job of because they did streaming at LVO on Twitch, I think.
Yeah.
And they basically got one of the Art of War guys to be one of the presenters on it.
Yeah.
I think that did actually make it a lot better because they had someone who knew what they're on about, essentially.
Yeah, if it's new Space Marine people, just get people who are Space Marine enthusiasts to be like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Just so you're going to, or show them literally seconds before the stream so they can look at it, build up an opinion, talk about it, and then go talk about it on the thing. So the enthusiasm's still there. Whereas people who have seen it for the last couple of years, you've got to think that's just been around in the studio. When a new codex comes out, like Emperor's Children, right? So people have had access to the entire line of models for about a year because they had to build it, paint it, photograph it, send it to the printer. So it's been in the building in the studio. Have people that know nothing.
Yeah.
But you can trust not to swear and be racist or just go off the rails.
Yeah, just regular people basically. Yeah.
I think, and they'll be all right. But
I'm glad it's 2 a.m. not 5 a.m. at least.
Yeah, I've got to a stage now. What happens is I go to bed and then I wake up in the morning and I then look and it's all there.
I think I'm going to stay up for this one just because I suspect there'll be some Chaos World Eaters stuff going.
Yeah, but it's 2 o'clock in the morning on Thursday.
Yeah.
So, like, if I stay up at 2 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday night, I'll just be knackered for here the next day.
True.
So I just tend to be like, I'll wake up in the morning and they'll already be chatting about it in the multiple like WhatsApp
All
groups.
the group chats.
Yeah. So
all
like,
the Reddits.
you sometimes don't even have to go on the Games Workshop's website because
It's just
every
there.
single
Yeah,
social
yeah,
media
yeah.
post is just a copy and
Oh
paste.
yeah, you'll Thursday morning. You'll be every single Warhammer account and be like, "Here's the exact picture they put on my account."
But on my account, it's like the same thing but in a different place.
Yeah.
But we're all in the same place, so it's all the same.
We've all seen the same article.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put it on my account.
Yeah. Ashley Dempsey says they can't hear anything.
He's partially deaf.
Oh,
Oh, fair enough.
that helps.
That explains that, doesn't it?
And
Oh,
no, that's the game stream.
this is
They can't see it. Don't worry.
Oh, they can't see it. Oh, that's fine.
interesting.
So yeah, I just think we just kind of need to accept that it's like we accept that it's going to be at a time that no one can watch, and then be pleasant. And then on the times they do release it during the day in England, we just be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
and just
true.
move
I also
on.
I guess for content people, the live stuff is important, but like for most people, you're probably not that bothered about seeing it live. Like,
Yeah.
if you see it just when you wake up in the morning, it's probably the same amount of excitement.
Yeah, and we'll do the Liam and Joe show on the Thursday. So, like,
Yeah, 'cause we're not
talk
doing that
about
at
it
2
then.
a.m., are we?
Yeah, we'll talk about it then. And there might be some people that haven't seen it yet, and there'll be some people that have already seen it, but they want to hear people on the internet's opinions on it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think, yeah, it just be. I'm looking forward. I always look forward to the reveals.
I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also very ready to be disappointed.
Yes.
Mainly because like the last two have been really good, so I feel like we're due a less good one.
Yeah, I think so. I'm quite lucky in the sense that I like a lot of the game systems. Like I like AOS, I like 40k. Everyone's always interested in Kill Team
Because of 40k.
because it's just a
Yeah.
40k thing. And I can't remember what the other one was. Was it Old World or was it?
It's not Horus Heresy. They
not Horus
fully
Heresy.
left that one off the list.
It's 4, isn't it?
Old World, Kill Team, 40k, Necromunda or something.
Maybe, yeah.
One of the ones I'm less bothered about.
Yeah. So, but the Necromunda models are always super,
Old
super
World
good.
could actually be quite interesting because there's a chance they're going to announce they're releasing an entirely new faction because they teased
Hopefully.
Carthay as like a
Yeah.
faction that's coming. They never even sold anything back in the day for that.
Otherwise, I think it's like Wood Elves.
It could be.
Or damn.
It was very strange.
Yeah.
Do you know how I fixed it?
Give
I
it a fiddle.
unplugged all the mics
Yeah.
and I plugged them all back in again.
Yeah.
That was it.
Weird.
How very bizarre.
Good old turn it off and on again.
It's basically,
Yeah.
it's essentially the mic equivalent of turn it off,
The
turn it on again.
classic.
But it was a really weird, like, very quiet, like, buzzy sound that was just there all the time.
Oh.
And the second I heard it, I was like, now I'm annoyed by it as well. So, I haven't listened to anything you were talking about.
I'm just saying that.
We're coming to terms with the fact that we have to accept that Games Workshop doesn't like the UK time.
I just think you need to get over it, Liam.
Yeah.
I just don't think it makes any sense.
Yeah, but I think like the same as like I really like playing Xbox, but I always like Xbox Showcase is always going to be stupidly late at night or super early in the morning.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense though, because it's an American product made by an American brand.
Yeah, but the games
where
that they show-
most of the audience are in America.
Yeah, but a lot of it's made here in England as well.
But you've got a UK-based company who makes products in the UK, whose core audience is the UK and Europe based on sales alone. I think it doesn't make sense when you're making 20 million, whatever it is, off of the UK and Europe, and 17, I think it is, off of America. Your bigger audience is UK and Europe. Make sure UK and Europe are awake, not 2 a.m. UK time, 3 a.m. Europe time.
I guess
Doesn't make any
it's
sense. And when you think about,
it's the Adepticon in America.
but still, so I go live at 7 p.m. in the evening, which if all the clocks, because I don't know exactly what it is going on in America at the moment, because they have their weird daylight savings has gone away or something already. But when I go live normally in the UK at 7 p.m., it's 11 a.m. West Coast America,
Right.
Which means it's 5 hours before me, so it's like 2 p.m. East Coast America, which means it's 7 p.m. UK, which means it's 8 p.m. in Europe. So it is possible to put a sensible time on
true.
that everyone's awake.
So
So
they could just do it during like the lunch or something.
and I saw someone say in the comment section off of last night's stream, yeah, but it's Adepticon, innit? They're an American company, they get to choose. I was like, it's Games Workshop. If Games Workshop say to Adepticon, we're streaming at 2 o'clock, they'll go, okay,
Yeah.
that's how that works.
Yeah,
That's true.
Like, are they because it's a gaming convention, isn't it? Adepticon.
Yeah.
It's not like
It's
a
not just
model
Warhammer.
convention, is it?
I don't know what it is. It's everything, I think.
So they could stream whenever they want, but at the same time, I've just kind of accepted it.
Let's not forget as well that it probably isn't a stream. It's probably
apparently they are streaming it.
They said they're live this time.
I don't know. If
They
I
swapped
mean,
it again.
I'll be honest with you. If they are live, I'm even more glad that I'm missing it as well because it's a worse show.
Yeah, true.
So, but what they have showcased so far on their Warhamster community page, which Joe excitedly shared in the Thanes yesterday, was a picture of a thing,
It's like a spawning.
which
pit.
looks like a terrain piece.
Yeah.
It is a train pit.
It looks like a Tyranid terrain piece.
How many you got one of those?
We have got one like 3D printed, and I reckon they're roughly about the same size. From like the image and the size of the skull, my guess would be it's about the height of an intercessor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's quite small then.
Yeah, because there's a skull on the base, so I'm like guessing my size of the skull, and I was
I
like,
haven't actually looked at it in that much detail.
and I was like, it's about the size. It's about the same size as the one that we've got.
Yeah.
Because it's based off an old Forge World kit.
So if what they've showcased so far, if you guys haven't seen it, it's here, right? It's a little purple, like weird.
Luckily it's in my army colour scheme as well.
I guess it might be just a bit bigger than a. Might be a bit bigger than an intercessor, but it looks like it's a terrain feature. It looks like it's a Tyranid-based terrain feature. The colours, for me, would give away that it's a Tyranid-based terrain feature. And that got me thinking about it because I didn't want to go down the normal route. We don't know exactly what they're going to be showcasing at Adepticon. This is one of those, because we're previewers, everyone assumes we know what's being showcased. We actually normally have no idea. And I actually quite like that because I like the excitement of opening up and seeing what it is. You saw my actual reactions to the Eldar stuff in that stream before Christmas. So we don't know. We can speculate as to what we think is coming. By the way, the one thing I did hear you say was that there's no heresy. And I thought that was very surprising. Because this is the last, I think, major show before summertime, and summertime is when they normally do a big product release. And I thought there was loads of rumours about
the rumor is that it's Horus Heresy. Some people don't think it is because they think it's on like a 6-year cycle, but I think all GW stuff has moved to a 3-year cycle.
If it wasn't a 6-year cycle, what would it be instead, though? What could they refresh now?
Underworlds.
That's not. I don't feel that's a big refresh, do you?
Like Shadespire. Underworlds or Warcry. I can't remember when they had the last edition of Warcry, but it's not like they're big.
It's not a
like
big game system, is it?
Big game system.
The big ones would be like 40k, AOS, Old Worlds, and
Heresy.
Sigmar.
Yeah.
No, I said Sigmar already. Yeah, Heresy.
Heresy would be their big. So anyway, they have showcased this little bit of terrain, and it got me thinking about it. And I was like, we had a discussion not too long ago where they put up made-to-order terrain for, I think it was Gothic Ruins.
Yeah.
And I was going to order a load, and I ended up forgetting to, and then I couldn't because they stopped taking orders. And I was looking on the Games Workshop website this morning at their terrain offering, and I have to say, specifically for 40k, but actually, honestly, AOS as well, it's quite poor. They don't really offer a lot, and when they do offer something, they also put it out there at what is essentially a ridiculous price for terrain as well. And my title is Warhammer needs more terrain.
Yeah.
And I don't think that for the majority of us that play competitively, we necessarily need more on the table. But I think for a lot of people at home as well, they need more terrain on the table. They don't play with enough terrain.
No.
Yeah, true.
But I think that's slightly more accessible if GW themselves sold more for people, because a lot of people won't 3D print. I mean, and to be fair, chat, you can go on eBay and Etsy. We've got a huge set of Eldar stuff that Joe's been painting up, which came from, I think, Etsy. The Tyranid Spires, you got someone to print for you.
Jamie, that one of our Thanes did it.
Yeah.
I did ask him for some more, but he went so. I think he's like pretending that.
He didn't
don't
ask you.
exist, yeah.
Yeah. So there's plenty of options. We've got a lot of the is it the Amphilia stuff that Daryl did?
Yeah, I've got that to build.
Which is MDF glued together. There's loads and loads of terrain options out there. But when you're constantly balls deep in the hobby, I think it's very easy to know that there's loads of terrain stuff out there. However, Games Workshop don't really offer as much as I feel like they should or could.
There's barely any.
And if they do, it's so often it's Gothic Ruins.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, and then it sells out instantly, then it goes away for 6 months.
And they've done some beautiful, like you got super excited about that orc stuff they did ages ago. You were talking about this the other day.
The kill team Octarius.
The Commandos one.
Yeah, the one that came with really nice orc terrain. And they did what they always did. That kill team box set came out. They released a run of the terrain for about a month, and then it disappeared. And now you can only get it on eBay for ridiculous sums of money. But the thing is, though, and what's happened now is people have just taken that and then just made their own 3D printed versions, kind of thing. But Games Workshop were like, they just carried on selling it at an affordable price because it wasn't thick plastic. It was the best terrain that they'd made up until that point in terms of quality and affordability. And then they're like, nah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
And then what they did is they replaced it with same size buildings but made it Mechanicum, which like immediately made it a lot more boring for a lot of people.
I feel like they're just losing money by not selling terrain all the time.
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah,
Because people also love having stuff for their own factions, so they could just sell like pretty much the same terrain but in different faction styles.
Especially when it's sexy terrain as well.
Yeah.
you got to think like for new players, right? It's a nightmare, especially if you think like the younger generation that come in that usually don't know a vast amount about the internet and purchasing and life. So it's down to like their parents to do it. So their parents go to the Warhammer shop and they go buy their child a starter box set, or their two kids a starter box set which they could play together, and then they get that wonderful experience of like, oh, I take it home and I build it, and then the guys, oh no, you have to buy clippers, glue, a knife, and then paint, and then that £120 box set costs them 300 quid. That was always a joy explaining that to every parent that walked through the door. And then they go, well, how do I play the game? Well, so the rules are in there, but you also have to go on their website to get the. And then they're like, what about? Do you sell like a board? And I'm like, no, because you have to buy like mats and terrain. Like, would you have any terrain here? So, oh, no, we don't carry on here, and it's always sold out on the website. So you have to buy it from other sources. So then you're like, as a Games Workshop, you're like, well, you have to go to like another website and buy a mat, buy terrain. Like, I suggest buying pre-built, pre-painted terrain.
Well, I think most people, when they started, probably used Coke cans and Pringles tubes and stuff like that.
But I think
like books and shoe boxes.
I think you got to think like that in terms of like when we were younger. Yes, but I think that's less common now.
You reckon?
Because when we were younger, Games Workshop terrain was cardboard terrain with bits of plastic holding it together, and then they released the 3rd edition box set, which had the little L-shaped, the tiny little corner ruins.
Yes, I remember those.
And they sold
2 or 4 of them in there.
And they sold those for ages along with the cardboard stuff. So it wasn't until 5th edition that the Cities of Death stuff came out. But since then, terrain's been a lot more available to people. So I think people getting into it now just buy like TT Combat.
Do you think GW look at things like TT Combat and GameMat.eu and Urban Mats, etc., and they go, we might as well not bother. It's not worth the development time.
The thing is but we know they have done the development time.
That's the bit I find weird, is that they've actually done loads of terrain stuff in the past. They just never have it on the store for an extended period of time.
And all terrain now is usually based off of the measurements of Games Workshop terrain.
But so the thing that I'm struggling with is that because my personal preference is I think that when they do bring out terrain, more often than not, it is the prettiest terrain you can get your hands on.
Yeah, definitely.
It's Games Workshop stuff, right? It is just normally better than everything else. And a lot of what they've made has been stunning. Some of the AdMech stuff they brought out, I don't like the big like rectangle buildings they made, but some of the other stuff they brought out has just been beautiful. Remember the old, the blue ones of like the ones high end, and then they're just like we've got like 6 of them or something.
Yeah.
They're cool, but they're just a bit dull compared to what they've done before. They had that big skull hanging from the crane on the AdMech stuff. They've had some incredible Cities of Death stuff. And I've always been of the opinion that they make the nicest terrain, the Bastions, the Fortress of Redemption, all that kind of stuff. But I often wonder if actually us doing this as well and having this business skews our opinion slightly. So we look at that as a very worthwhile investment in terms of making the boards look prettier.
Yeah.
And actually, I guess a lot of people will go, but I can go to Game Mat and spend the same amount of money that I would spend for a piece of terrain on Games Workshop and get half a table's worth.
Yeah.
And perhaps that's why maybe GW sales are going, it's actually not all that worth it for us.
If the problem is because they never developed their terrain in enough quantity, then it never sells as well, because obviously the more they produce, the cheaper they can do it for. And if they did their terrain with a cheaper quality plastic as well,
interesting.
So if they used the red blue plastic that they use for like Underworld and Warhammer Heroes, and even like the Conquest magazines they always use a different cheaper kind of plastic. If they use that for terrain, they do so much better.
Yeah, okay.
Because they could produce it cheaper.
Do you think it would also help if they brought out rules for terrain. So, and I don't mean like I'm not a fan of having faction specific. This is a me issue. I'm aware of this. But when you make a very beautiful board of something specific, and then someone turns up with this random bit of terrain and goes, "That's mine," and you're like, "That doesn't really fit." Doesn't look right.
More like a Hammerfall bunker.
A little bit, yeah. Right. You've got this beautiful like Eldar city that you've made, perhaps, and then someone goes Hammerfall bunker or Orc fortress, and like it doesn't work. So what I mean is like at the moment, what we see as well is we just see L-shaped ruins, and I'm like, I'd love to have minefields or rivers or. Do you know what I mean?
So
like,
the problem is with that kind of stuff is the game is not user friendly within the rule set of the game, right? If you have a river going through the board, which I like the idea of, I want there to be rivers.
We can use real water, Joe.
I built a massive board that had a massive river running through it, and it was great. And but the problem is that you've got either a huge piece of impassable terrain, so it either needs to be short enough that like an infantry unit can move from one side to the other, or like jump units can jump across it,
or the bridge.
Or you have to have bridges, but then you have to think about how big are your bridges.
Yeah, true.
Like what can go over the bridge. But it also means that you've got this huge section where there's no cover that people can just shoot across. So you end up in a situation where you've got a massive river, but you have to put buildings all the way along it. Otherwise, it just becomes a shooting gallery.
I feel like the river probably worked better in like Age of Sigmar or Old World.
Yeah, Old World it works really, really good, and Age of Sigmar works fine because you say like it's shallow enough to move across. I think Age of Sigmar's crying out for more buildings, actually like a city fight version of Age of Sigmar.
I don't often see like a good Age of Sigmar board where I think it's a good opportunity to actually do some really interesting stuff because I don't think the rules for terrain matter as much in Age of Sigmar.
It only really matters for larger models, which makes sense.
Because it's more just a blocking thing, isn't it? It's not, you can't really go in it or do stuff
like
in
Age of Sigmar can have really strong shooting units, so you do need buildings, but the range of the shooting units is like 18 to 24 at most, so they're not. Like,
it's not like cross map murder.
But again, you've kind of hit on what I was saying there. So Age of Sigmar terrain doesn't have any rules.
No.
So it has less impact. It's in the way.
It's just there.
And I also find with Age of Sigmar, they'll give you like a terrain. Here's the other thing. Do you think people's creativity is part of the problem?
Yeah, probably.
Because people look for the Age of Sigmar goes, this is the terrain map, this is how many people, this is how many large pieces, how many small pieces, how many areas are artifacts of power, and people go, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Like, well, just build your own cool narrative board where there's a graveyard and a big church. You could do that. Yeah. But then again, I'd argue that there's no rules for terrain in Age of Sigmar, and then people are kind of, at that point, if they're going to put lots of terrain on, it's probably encouraging them to bring up, make rules, like almost house rule stuff. For terrain.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think if terrain had more rules, perhaps a river was a bad idea, but I think if terrain had more rules and Games Workshop went, here's the models that exactly represent those rules, and the terrain feature should be roughly this size, and guess what? This piece we make is roughly this size. What happens then is every other terrain company has to play catch up. Yeah. So Games Workshop comes out in April with the 40k minefield, which is exactly 7 inches by 7 inches ish, right? And and they've built the model for it, blah 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 blah. And once you've set the minefield off, it's replaced with a crater. I'm really just randomly spitballing here, right? At that point, every other terrain maker's gone, we don't have a minefield. We don't have the replacement crater we're now going to have to make one to be able to sell a thing that people can use in their games.
Yeah.
And it says that the defender can place one minefield as part of its rule set, right? And again, I'm spitballing here randomly. At that point, I think GW then will start to take the lion's share of terrain because they go, well, we're making the rules for this stuff as well.
Yeah, I think they just need to produce it cheap enough is always their problem because they always go, we've released a building, you're going to need 5 or 6 of them, but they're 50 quid each. Is their biggest problem. If they went like, we've released a building, it's 20 quid, that'd be much better. They just price themselves out of the market, which is always there.
But I also feel like terrain just isn't impactful. Even in 40k, where you have to have a lot of terrain nowadays because there's so much shooting, there's 2 things the terrain does. Blocks line of sight, gives you cover. Yeah. That's it. Doesn't give you anything else. You used to take dangerous...
What about plunging fire? Thank you.
All right, okay. You take dangerous terrain tests if you rode a bike or dropped a jump pack infantry in terrain.
But But
Yeah, I
that's
remember when
because
Trees did something in 9th edition.
it's because we don't have area terrain anymore.
We don't.
Area terrain is gone. Like the biggest loss to 40k was area terrain, I think, because trees came on a base.
Yeah.
If anyone's got some of those trees, by the way, contact me.
I quite liked it when it was like you could have like dense cover, but your movement was reduced.
Yeah.
Like, light
Exactly.
cover.
See?
I quite
Now we're
liked it in
talking.
9th edition, but I never actually saw that happen at tournaments.
I think they just got rid of tournament rules because it just speeds the game up, and I think it also creates arguments.
Oh yeah, it's like I'm fully in this group of trees, but a millimeter of my base is not on it.
It's like so we have this argument regularly.
Oh no.
Because they've introduced a new piece of area terrain, and it's causing issues, right? So it's about like 8 inches long, 12 inches long, 3 wide, with like a little L shape on each corner.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
So by the ruling, it's 3 inches tall, so it's not obscuring. But every tournament runs it as obscuring.
Yeah, every tournament pack says it's obscuring.
Right? You can only shoot it through it if you're in it, right? But you have to be wholly within it. But if you're a vehicle or a monster,
you're too big.
You're too big, so you're never wholly within it. So then you end up with these arguments where it's like, well, my knight's got his foot in it. Yeah, but you're not wholly in it. I said, well, I've put the entire knight on it. I'm not wholly in it either because I'm sticking out on both sides. And it just creates this weird argument which shouldn't really exist. It should be like, if I'm touching it, like if my base is on top of it, I can shoot out of it.
Yeah.
But that also means that I could be shot. And they should just leave it at that. But they just create these weird... And what the Games Workshop rules pack, the actual legit Games Workshop, all the terrain they've given you tiles, and then depending on what mission it is, you put a building on it, and it has a different part. It's a different position on that tile, but the whole tile is obscuring. And it's just like... It's just they've just made it too complicated.
I do wish that we could all just agree on like one terrain format to play at tournaments with, because it's just it's really confusing when like the WTC has their own thing and Games Workshop has their own thing and UKTC has their own thing, and then they all do their own rulings and their own tournament packs as well.
Well, Games Workshop's terrain layout has bases on its the tiles, but they don't sell the tiles.
That's also weird that they. I feel like if they really want, they could just sell like MDF like packs of terrain that would like pop out and like slot together.
They also tried that, didn't they? MDF terrain in a box.
Well, we've got the MDF terrain back there for Kill Team.
Yeah,
like they could just like. So that'd be so easy.
They've already gone through the R&D on designing.
That'd be so
terrain.
easy to like have that as a starter set for new players. Just like here's some really cheap, easy to build terrain.
Or even as a tournament set.
Or even a tournament set as well. Yeah. Like if you're like a local vendor.
I feel like this is a huge missed opportunity for them. If they've trialed MDF terrain, it's quite pretty. It is MDF. I'm not the biggest fan of MDF. That's the reason why I'm big fans of Daryl and LCA, because he takes MDF and tries to make it actually detailed rather than flat side.
Yeah.
But they've done the MDF thing, and I was like, oh, I guess I think I know what this is for. They've put out terrain packs for everything. It is all L's and stuff like that. Yeah. And they say you can use other bits of terrain because we don't necessarily. I was like, surely what they're going to do is they're going to have one boxed pack of MDF terrain, which is the tournament terrain, Games Workshop tournament terrain pack, which you can buy. And if you buy that, you're going to cover a whole table in all the shapes and sizes that we show you that we need within our tournament pack. And they never did. And I was like...
really weird.
I don't understand. I don't understand why you randomly did MDF for one Kill Team box. Because the new one that's been showcased with the mechanical chicken leg world eater people and the sisters...
Yeah, the big statue.
It's just one big sister statue or two big sister statues.
And that one's been out for ages.
I feel like these Kill Team boxes are just expansion. They're just expansion boxes. They're not actual... Here's how to play the game. It's like the one that had the Votan in was just like a big generator.
Yeah.
David says TT Combat already has the market cornered for MDF. GW could never compete on price or quality. Fully disagree. First of all, no company ever has the market of anything. And in 10 years' time, because if they rest on the laurels, in 10 years' time, another company comes out and goes, we're doing a better job than you now.
Yeah,
it's always possible. It doesn't matter whether you're TT Combat, Apple, Tesla, it's relevant. Someone always can come along and be a disruptor and change that marketplace. Well, secondly, if Games Workshop produce it, it will sell because it's Games Workshop.
Also, you need to think, right, everyone that plays Warhammer has heard of Games Workshop.
Oh yeah.
Right? Not everyone that plays Warhammer has heard of TT Combat.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have never heard of TT Combat before. And
Well, there
I
you go.
play a shitload of Warhammer.
Yeah. So I think like TT Combat hasn't really cornered the market. So I haven't bought like any of their stuff for ages. Like normally, if I want MDF terrain, I just go on eBay and just buy the cheapest because I know that I can spruce it up myself. But if Games Workshop turn around and go, here is high quality, like proper high quality, like the kill teams are proper high quality MDF with a printed design on it, which is textured.
Yeah.
With all of their logos and stuff on it, and you just buy the box and it just slots together, you're like, cool.
They'd have to go against their usual MO though. They'd have to not charge £800 for it.
Yeah, I think the benefit of going to a printed wood is they can do it a lot cheaper. Whether they will, because if it's something they release, and for dear God, if they release it, please just keep it in stock.
That's the weirdest
for the
part
foreseeable
about Terrain,
future. Yeah,
is that they just like release something really cool and never make it again, or maybe like 2 years later they'll make it again.
Because if they go like right, if they make it an in-stock product that stays for ages, and the Games Workshop stores buy it, but also the third-party stockists that also have like gaming halls and gaming tables, what happens then is those shops and those gaming halls buy Games Workshop terrain and then have it on their tables. And then people go and play on it and they go, well, where do I get this terrain? And then they buy it. They take it home. And then what happens is tournament organisers start buying it and using it.
Yeah.
And then it's the only terrain that's available.
Do you remember the like huge Imperial wall thing you used to be able to get that had rules and like
Cool as
massive
shit.
guns on it? At the end of 9th edition, my friend 3D printed about 6 foot of it. And we just played this like huge apocalypse game with like the massive wall on one side and like Necron, you know that giant like scythe thing with
The pylon?
Yeah, we had 2 Necron pylons on the other side. Just had this huge like terrain battle of like the Xenos and the Chaos trying to get through the wall.
Yeah.
To like send off 9th edition essentially. That was great fun.
They've made such incredible terrain pieces, and I feel like we're missing something.
Yeah.
There's got to be a business reason as to why they're not doing it, or why they go up for a while and they stop making them again. There's got to be. Because I don't know. I mean, I know we heavily criticise what they do often as a company, but this is something that hasn't really changed for the length of time I've known GW.
It's just that their whole sales ethic just seems to be produce a product, sell it till it sells out, and it normally sells out really quickly, and then they go, we've made our profit, wash your hands of it, you know? It's done, off it pops. It can't fit into said jewel and reselling
like
it.
I guess technically it's a win for them because they've sold out of it.
Yeah.
but-
Would you like to see more terrain from GW, or are you not bothered because there's so many other companies that
Yeah.
exist?
So, for instance, right, the Tyranid terrain, for instance, we've got the little spawning pit. I've got 5 of the Tyranid spires. I want more Tyranid spires because they just look really, really cool, and I want them in different varying sizes. If I want them, I have to go and seek them out on eBay or find a friend to do it, and they have to 3D print it. And then the problem is that you thankfully Jamie's printing stuff's really, really high quality. But if you're buying off of eBay or Etsy, you have no clue how good that quality is until it arrives.
Do you think terrain might be one of those like last bastions of go on hobbyist, go and make your own? Because I said Dave, who's one of our moderators, posted a thing in Thanes a little while ago of him making his own terrain. It looked great, really, really cool. And he'd use like bits of like lolly sticks and all sorts of stuff. It looked incredible. And I see people do it with bases where they'll make trenches, and they'll use lolly sticks to make the trench boards and what have you. And it's amazing. And do you think that perhaps that's something that should be protected, maybe? Or?
It should be protected. Because the thing is, though, it's going out of fashion, right? And that's just a change of the times, right? I used to do it. Nothing brought me greater joy when I was a kid than building terrain. And everyone I knew built their own terrain. And that was because Games Workshop didn't sell it. And Games Workshop advocated the building of your own terrain. I have somewhere their how to build terrain books that they sold. And they're like, go out and buy this polystyrene and get this cardboard. This is how you build. It's how you make a building. But as like people have grown older and technology's advanced and all that, people don't have to go out and collect hobbycraft stuff to build it themselves when they could just press a button on the internet and it just comes to them pre-built.
I see most terrain I see is 3D print now as well.
Yeah.
Like there's just so many files online where most people that play Warhammer either own a 3D printer or know someone who has a 3D printer.
Crafting and building your own terrain is now like an art form and a skill in itself. It's like people with thatched roofs, you know. It's an art form that exists, but only a very specific few people kind of do it anymore.
Yeah.
Do you think part of the problem is also the fact that it's almost like Games Workshop are often backed into this corner where they can't please everybody all the time. So they release more ruins. Everyone's going, oh, I wish there was Eldar terrain. And then the Orc players are going, well, no, I want Orc terrain. And then the Chaos players are going, well, I want better Chaos terrain.
Yeah, they would have to release faction terrain for everyone.
But it's not.
But I think they would also make loads of money off it.
I think they would.
Yeah.
If they dropped Chaos terrain for World Eaters and Eldar terrain for Eldar, I'd be buying both sets.
Well, this way, they did the Chaos Gate, I call it.
The giant
someone
castle.
in the
big. So I've got one.
Someone
in my
chat
garage
called it a rip-off Stargate. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got that which I need to do because I've got a bunch of terrain I'm going to go through over the next month or so. And it's like you've got one piece of Chaos terrain. And the great thing about Chaos terrain is it doesn't have to be a full building. It has to be it could just be an add-on to a building.
I missed the Skull Fortress. I want the Skull Fortress.
The Skull Fortress was great, but it was like Games Workshop's biggest and most expensive thing they ever sold.
I want the Skull Fortress.
I do. I want it as well.
Tabletop
Games Workshop could do it.
Do Tabletop have it?
Yeah.
We're going to go rob them.
Yeah,
but it's like, God knows, do you know who has got it?
We'll win that fight.
Yeah.
Do you know who has got it?
Who?
And you should approach them and make them an offer.
Offie.
An offer. Elements got one. They had one there when we did the...
Built?
Yeah.
That means it's usable in the gaming hall.
It's not... Yeah, but it's built and not really painted. It's in lots of... I could take it and make it better.
Someone in chat must have the Skull Fortress. I want the Skull Fortress.
But there's probably a 3D print of it that exists.
Oh, there definitely will be.
Right? And it's like... The Eldar terrain, we had those trees, which admittedly were a bit shit. The spiky ones that had the random...
I didn't hate them, though. I didn't hate them, but they weren't exactly like game or user friendly. How the actual... Like the bases of trees they did, the forests. With the three...
Those are... The fact they got rid of them was a shame for everyone. The Citadel trees. And then...
Although I would say the Sylvaneth trees are better.
They are.
They are good.
They are much nicer.
They're the best tree.
Yeah, but the good thing about the base of the trees that you could have is that it was a definitive line of where it was.
Yeah.
And I'm an advocate of... I was always at Games Workshop with their trees. They've literally built the trees, they've glued them on. And then it's just a kind of a thing that you're around. You never really go in. And I'm a big fan of area, like impassable terrain. Because you go, boom, set piece. And we just play around it. And that's great. I love I'm building a giant church thing for Ginger Steve. And it's great. And it's going to look really, really good. But if you have too many of those things on the table, it becomes a nightmare to kind of like get in and around. I think I
miss area terrain actually, Joe. I didn't know I missed area terrain until you started talking about it today.
Yeah,
I actually do miss area terrain.
Yeah, it was really, really good, but but the problem is the game has changed too much. It doesn't like. I was looking at pictures in the group chats where someone sent pictures from when we used to play throughout 7th edition events that we'd gone to, and it was like some trenches and some crates and the odd building and trees and it was fine because the shooting wasn't like nowadays. If you didn't have any terrain like that, if you had 7th edition terrain in 10th edition, one person gets tabled in a turn.
Yeah, of course.
The nature of the game now means you have to have closed terrain on the table.
But I like dense terrain boards, but I feel like we are very lucky that we get to play on lots of different tables. I was talking to Lee, so my friend Lee was down this weekend, and he went to day one of the South Coast Super Major.
Yeah.
He had won 2, lost 1, and then on the Saturday night I was chatting to him, And I was, he said he might drop tomorrow. I was like, oh, all right. And I wasn't going to push it, but in the end he did. And I said to him, we could have just hung out for the weekend if you'd rather. He said, well, the thing is, he said, I have one opponent that I get to play, that I get to play at home. And we practice tournament games. So I go to events like this because it gives me an opportunity to play other people. I've played 3 games. I'm happy. I'm Warhammered out now. I don't care about winning an event. I don't care about podium. I just care about having random people that I wouldn't normally get to play and playing more random, more varied games of Warhammer, which I think is a wonderful reason to go to tournaments in general. However, I never said this to him, and he'll probably watch, but I felt a little bit sorry for him at the time as well. Really? Because that means that he plays, because the tournament practice at home, every single game on tournament-style terrain layouts.
Oh, yeah.
And I just feel like, for me, when Joe does something fucking super fancy on the table, and I'll kiss your ass a little bit here, when he does something super fancy on the table and makes this beautiful setting, and I get to play over that, that's a bit of a privilege that a lot of people don't get.
Do you know what killed terrain? Or what actually killed terrain? Fixed objectives.
That's a good point.
Fixed objectives was the death of terrain.
What do you mean?
Because so what used to happen, right, is you'd go around your mate's house, we're going to play a game of 40k, you'd go to a tournament, and you'd make a nice table. You'd go, I'm going to have a factory over here, some houses and officey section over there, we're going to have a storage over here, right? And then you'd go, we have 5 to 6 objectives, right? And then you'd roll off, and then you'd place the objectives.
Oh.
And the difference, so what you do is you just put. But sometimes the stipulations where you can have one in your deployment zone, one in each deployment zone, and the rest go in no man's land, 12 inches away from each other, or you go 2 in each in no man's land, 2 in each deployment, and then you could put them wherever you want. So what normally happened was you'd go, I've made a really fancy board. We'll randomize deployment. And then you go, well, this building looks important. These storage containers look really important. That power plant looks important.
The church.
Yeah, you go, these are the places I want to fight and do stuff. And then...
Oh, I miss it.
And then the game adapted to the board that you had. Whereas now it's fixed terrain. It's fixed terrain because you have to have fixed objectives. And then what happens then... You have to go, well, I can't have too many lines of sight, and you have to be able to shoot.
Surely it's then competitiveness that really killed it off. Because
we still had competitive 40k. We still had competitive 40k for the first 8 editions.
Yeah,
it's only late 8th, 9th, and 10th where hyper competitive chess like 40k has kind of evolved, and it's become all about specific balance, but that's because of how the game missions are set out.
Do you think though, if you not go into tournaments or anything, you just go around your mate's house to play a game, you could just be like, okay, we're gonna just go back to player placed objectives, do whatever terrain we feel like, basically play it how it used to be, and just do that as a casual game.
Yes, you can do that,
which I think. Which obviously is not technically what Games Workshop are telling you to do, which might be the problem with why people don't do it.
You can do that, but I don't want to tar them all with the same brushes that people are woefully unimaginative.
Yes, we've had this chat.
And Games Workshop hasn't told them to play like that, so they don't.
Because the way you said it there, there's literally nothing stopping you playing.
There's nothing stopping you,
like that.
And you can do it.
Yeah.
And it was what was really good about Maelstrom was still player-placed objectives.
Maelstrom was
because they did a similar one in 9th that was also player-placed.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was like, hey, we're bringing Maelstrom back, but it wasn't quite Maelstrom.
Yeah,
really.
So I think the great thing about having the Maelstrom is capture objective 1, objective 5, is that you'd place the objectives in important positions, so it meant that you were actively going to important parts of the table. But that's kind of gone now. But I don't see why they can't bring it back.
They definitely could.
If Games Workshop released a simple, because I could write a mission rule pack on player placed terrain and objectives, that'd be great, but not many people would play it because games work, but it's because it's not the way to play the game.
I do think they could very easily just essentially release another pack of cards that was a more casual, more fun version, like the Maelstrom thing, and it would be they'd just sell out again instantly.
I think it would. It would sell out because people would be Games Workshop were can re-release all their old terrain kits and go, here's Factorum. Here's they had the big cathedral building that they sold. Here's a bastion. They could sell all of it again.
Yeah, because there's always loads of people in chat saying like, "Oh, I wish there was a bit more narrative stuff going on, or a bit more like casual stuff going on." I think that would sell a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually quite sad when I realised I'd missed that made to order. Because
I was a bit sad when I found out.
Yeah.
Because I was waiting for it.
well, I know that made to order, we'd have been waiting a while.
But I thought you'd ordered it because I was like, I got this placeholding tournament terrain, and then when that arrives, I can make some real sexy ones. Yeah. Now I have to figure out that problem.
We'll solve it somehow. We'll solve it. Maybe a thing you could do and sell to us as narrative rollback for fun casual games. Can't sell it. Not allowed.
Yeah.
Illegal.
We can make the packs and we can make them downloadable, and I can make them downloadable specifically just in a specific section of Discord. What I can't do is sell the rules pack because Games Workshop get very upset about that.
Yeah, it's like Warhammer made their own like horde mode game style or something, but that's just free for everyone.
Yeah, but then Tabletop Tactics took it, remade it, and then sold it. I think
I don't
think they sold it, but they put it out there as like the new and
made their own version.
Yeah,
kind of.
Right, let us know what you think, chat, anyway, about terrain and stuff. We're going to jump into the chat right now. I've been gently sipping my coffee. I need it today, actually.
Also, I think what you need to do is if you're having fun games of 40k, you need to know that the person that's coming to play with you is there to have fun as well.
Yeah, play the same way.
I think it's always important to establish like how casual or competitive you want to be with someone.
Yeah, I think if someone's coming over to your house, you have to have that discourse of like, what do you want to do tonight? Do you want to do competitive or do you want to have fun? If we're going to do fun, do you want to do something random and we'll wake up the spot? Just don't bring anything too mental. Yeah. And we'll just play games.
Like if your opponent's like, I want to try, he's a stomper this evening. Yeah. Don't bring hyper competitive list against it.
Yeah, I'll bring a stomper. Please make it so I can move.
Yeah, let's
I
make
can
the
move my
terrain so
bottle
that
around
you
the
can
table.
actually get around the board. Yeah.
Like I said, let us know what you think. We'll jump into chat right now. We are currently on 41 of the finest members. Thank you so much, you wonderful people.
Can you charge an admin fee? They're not paying for it. You could download this folder, but there is a £5 admin fee.
Well, again, just put it for Jarls and above.
Jarl.
All right. So you'd have to upgrade to Jarl at least once to be able to take the file. At which point you haven't charged for it. It's just locked in the Jarls only area. It's free to Jarls. It's locked in that area. Thank you, Evan Manello. It's a super chat as well for the 20 gifted memberships before we even went live, Joe.
Madness. Absolute madness. I hope someone gets you Taco Bell today.
Joe had
I had Taco Bell on Saturday. I was banging.
Yeah? I've never had it.
Not to sound like my partner, but it wasn't very big. I paid for extra meat. I did not get extra meat. Well, I was like, if this is the extra meat, I don't want to know how much the not extra meat is. You know. But it was.
I've only ever had it in California, and I wasn't impressed.
Was it big? It was more like mine was like it came out obviously as the meaty tube that I'd ordered, but it was like a Tesco wrap.
It does. But I didn't know what the fuck I was ordering, so I said to Bridger, I was like, I don't know what I'm ordering, and Bridger was like, and he ordered me like this, like it's like a Taco Bell selection box, right? Yeah. And then when I got it, him and Brian were telling me which order I had to eat things in, and I was like, why? It's like because as it gets colder, it gets progressively more disgusting. So you eat it in the order we tell you, because the thing that you eat last is the one that gets least disgusting as it gets colder.
Is it Mexican food, basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mexicans would tell you no.
Mexican
style?
Yeah, inspired by.
Rip-off?
Yeah, like the tubs of cheese that you get in there, you have to smash that as quick as possible because it will turn to clay. Although they did have one of the best things I've ever ordered in my life. It was, they've now got cinnamon twists.
Right.
The box it comes in is like huge, right? It's essentially a Quavers, but like cinnamon flavoured.
I like a Quaver.
Yeah, without twisted. Basically, what is it? Clearly, they just come in a thing that you just chuck in the fryer, and they go, poof, and then they just cover them in cinnamon.
Sounds good.
And I could eat it by the bin bag full. I was like, this is too good. Dangerously good.
Dangerous.
Yeah, we've got that Winchester tournament.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be good.
I'm definitely getting Taco Bell on the way home.
Really?
Just for those, yeah.
Where is it?
Andover. Not Andover, Amesbury. So I have to drive past it.
Okay, yeah.
It's not good. It's not good, Joe.
I feel like you'd have a
But what
better
it
time
is-
at another place.
I would have. I was had this conversation. I would much rather have Taco Bell over McDonald's.
I wouldn't.
I
But
don't
then
know.
again, I haven't had it here. I had it in America,
Do
in
you think it'd be
California.
different?
Yeah, I reckon it will be different.
Maybe.
Bridges made sure when he went to both Gibraltar and when he came here to try Domino's because it's different in all three
Oh
places
my
apparently.
God.
And I also wonder because in California you're kind of spoiled because you get actual proper Mexican food as well.
Yeah, you get real food.
Like so, I'm like at that point when you've had proper Mexican food, then you go to Taco Bell, you're like, what is this shit?
Did he say which Domino's was better?
No, I don't. He hasn't told me. No, I have to
Interesting.
ask him.
But it was good. Like I
Isn't
said
there
to my
one in
missus,
town?
I've been given permission to go to more tournaments in pool as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
The wife's letting you off.
Yeah, because Taco Bell is literally around the corner. So she's like, Taco Bell life.
There's one in Southampton.
Is there?
Yeah.
Where?
I think it is.
I'm sure there is. I'm 100% sure there's a
So
Taco Bell in
Google.
Southampton. I'm sure I walked past it. It's definitely one. There's one in Brighton as well.
But the problem is that we've got Mexico here. And
I bet,
Mexico is better.
There's a Taco Bell like a mile away.
Yeah, that's for me. Yeah, Southampton. I told you this one. I'm sure it's in the centre.
Yeah, it looks
centre.
right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Clyde, we could go.
Yeah. We could get Mexico though. That is
We
better.
could, yeah, but I could
Right
try
next to Primark.
UK-based Taco Bell, see if it reminds me or not.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
the same.
If it's free, I'll have it. So,
I didn't say that, Jay.
Joe
Yeah.
motto.
Clive, maybe if we get to 100 members. Clive the Kiwi, thank you for 5 gifted memberships.
thank you, Clive. I hope that you are given a guinea pig.
I like a guinea pig.
I don't.
It's the only pets I
Why
can
not?
have
They're
as a
fucking
child.
annoying. And they just go, "Meep, meep, 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 meep," and that's it.
They are
Quite
delicious,
cute though.
You can, however, drop kick them. Chris, thank you for the
though.
5.
I wouldn't.
Thank you for the 5. Just caught your stream from yesterday. Favourite game is definitely Satisfactory. Chilled factory building game with trains. Amazing for the tism. I was talking about your favourite ever video game, Joe.
Oh.
Yesterday, at the end of yesterday's stream when we went off on our tangent. Favourite ever video game?
Bioshock.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Hands down.
Tom, favourite ever video game?
Hello Reach.
Oh, they didn't even think these seen it.
Yeah. Bioshock is incredible. I've played it so many times, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Or 1, 2, and Infinite.
Halo Reach was like the first proper video game I ever did, essentially. So
I've
it's
never
like,
played the Halo series.
If
fucking
on a,
good.
the
If
bet,
you just ignore the last couple.
have you played ODST?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's bang as
ODST
well.
is my favourite Halo.
I think I basically started playing when Halo Reach came out, so I kind of missed the Halo 3 era, which I know most people are going to be like, oh, Halo 3 was better, but like Halo Reach
3
was
a
Halo
gold-
Reach was the one I grew up with, essentially.
Yeah. Halo 3 was a golden age. of
Oh,
gaming.
mate, the era of Halo Reach, Black Ops 1, and like Bad Company Battlefield 2 or something, was it?
Battlefield
Or
Bad Company 2.
3 or
Bad
something?
Company 2 was great,
Oh,
by
banger,
the way.
yeah. Oh, when Battlefield was good, that was insane.
Yeah.
Battlefield 3 was so good.
Battlefield 3 was incredible. 4 was
4
very,
was
very
really
good.
After that, we can stop talking
No,
about it.
I actually really liked 1.
Oh,
Battlefield
I
1.
forgot about that. Yeah, that was really good,
I
actually.
liked 1,
Battlefield
and then I was so
cracking.
excited for 5, and it was a bit shit
That
compared
was
to 1.
One of the most disappointing games I've ever played.
What's that, Battlefield?
Battlefield V or 5 or
Yeah,
whatever
Battlefield
they called
5.
it.
But then eventually it was fixed and it was okay. It was a bit better.
It got a lot better.
Battlefield 5 was like... the problem with Battlefield 5, right...
It just
is-
felt worse than Battlefield 1 in every
so what?
way.
So what happened, right? Is that Battlefield 5 was going to be an incredible game, right? And they released a trailer for this incredible game,
Yeah,
and it looked
I remember it.
immense, right? And what happened is that the internet existed, and they watched it and they gone, we don't like it, change it.
Really?
So what? So in the trailer, right? Because Battlefield historically, excluding Bad Company, right, was always been a historically accurate World War or war simulator.
Yeah, yeah.
So everything is like, so they're like, we have to recreate.
Hyper-realism.
It has to be hyper realistic, right? And then what had happened was in the trailer there was like a woman.
Oh,
With a
yeah.
prosthetic
There was a
arm.
robot arm or something.
It was like a prosthetic arm where
Yeah.
she could like grab onto things, and like there was a guy with like a peg leg.
Yeah.
And then there was like a guy who had a gun that had like a non-historically accurate foregrip on it.
Yeah.
Right. And there was like a tank that had. There was a guy that had like night vision, but in World War II, a night vision scope was about the size of your TV. It was huge, right? And you go and it was just green. You could barely see anything, right?
Yeah.
And the internet were like, no, I don't like it.
Yeah.
So what we got was Battlefield 5 with all of the cool stuff stripped out,
All of the fun stuff.
and then it was like, oh,
That's a shame.
1 was great. I think 4 was my favourite of all time.
1 was great. I remember like the map in Italy where there's just a huge Zeppelin above you like the whole time. And it eventually explodes on top of you.
4 was the first time they brought in that full evolution stuff as well,
yeah,
and you could
there
bring
was
the dam down and all sorts.
Well, there was the map in China where the skyscraper falls over like halfway
Siege of
through.
Shanghai?
Yeah, that was awesome.
I played so much 4.
Yeah, I
It
played
is
a hell of a lot. of 4.
unreal. And you had the sea map where the storm would come in, and
When Battlefield was good, I was like, why am I even bothering playing COD when this
I don't
exists?
actually know how long I played it for, but I played it more than I probably should.
So
We
was.
discovered Joe's Call of Duty playtime last night.
It's a lot, isn't it?
It's a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
It's
like 71 days.
I played.
it's like 1,500 hours or something.
I mostly played Call of Duty, and I got to the original Modern Warfare 2, and it was Brum that was like, this Battlefield game is better.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it more playing online. And I was like, nah. And in the end, he came up to. I was based up in Ipswich, and he came up for the weekend. I bought you a present. I was like, what that? And I opened it, and he bought me fucking Battlefield Bad Company 2 for the PlayStation.
Ash has come in with a controversial but honest to take.
I liked Hardline.
Which one was Hardline?
Hardline was the police version.
I didn't really like that
So
one.
it was like Cops of Rock. It was an incredible game. It was not an incredible Battlefield game, but what it did allow you to do was taser people.
So he bought me this Bad Company 2 game. I was like, oh, all right, you've bought it. I'll give it a go. Then he fucked off home, and the first night I put that on to play online with Brom, I was like, yeah,
This is better than COD.
I don't think I picked COD up again after that. I'll be honest.
It's Battlefield. OG Battlefield is better than COD. 100%.
The only thing that then brought me back to Call of Duty was him with DMZ.
Yeah, Joe's told me a lot about DMZ.
There was a time and a place. It really was.
Yeah, why they stopped that is baffling.
I get sad every time I think about the fact it's gone.
Yeah.
It's not gone, it still exists. People are still playing it.
Yeah, but the people that still play it are the worst kinds of people. They're all awful.
Clive the Kiwi, thank you for the $5. They hired a Kiwi to do the timetable as it is 2 p.m. NZST.
So it's New Zealand's fault.
It's New Zealand's fault.
Classic New Zealand.
Operation Metro was fucking peak Farmer George. It was my favourite map of all time.
Yeah, that was good.
Jeremy, thank you for the $2. The smaller super chats because I was asking for a test. I'm trying to work this new feature out and I can't make it work. I don't know how to make it work, but I'll get there eventually. Christian, thank you for the $5. Joe was the 4th MESGBG.
Oh, we were talking about the 4th thing on the preview, I guess, Middle Earth Strategy Battle game.
Oh, yeah. I reckon we'll probably get actual Rohirrim horse riders.
That'd be sick.
I find it mental that they've released Rohirrim and it was all on foot.
That was really weird.
Yeah.
There was like 3 horse guys or something.
They need to improve Lord of the Rings horses because they have the weakest ankles of any model ever to exist. All right. None of them would run a derby, honestly.
No? Okay. Electman, thank you for the $10. Before the main topic, this is for you, Liam. I yield, I concede, I admit defeat. You called this in October. List building in AOS isn't fun now. That's why I'm so disillusioned with the game hobby at the moment. Everyone eventually comes round to realising that I'm right.
You're not right, though. I
About
like
what?
it.
List building in AOS.
Yeah. I said it was dull and boring ages ago, months ago. And Electman just going
How dare they give you structure?
I yield, I commit, I
It's not
concede, I admit
structure.
defeat. You called this in October.
Yeah.
This building in AOS isn't fun now.
It's the illusion of structure.
I'm actually sad though, Electman, that that's the case because I know he's such a fucking massive AOS fan. Although I called it, I would rather it wasn't true for people and they were still enjoying themselves. But I'm not hugely surprised. I'm just sad for you more than anything.
I like it. I think it's really
Fair
good.
enough, you like it. I just don't think it's fine. It's just like restrictions, but not really.
I think it's arguably better than 40k at the moment.
Could be.
Sort of.
Barely.
Yeah, but then it's not because 40k, for most factions at least, gives you so many options There is 40k's current greatest achievement in list building, because I don't like list building 40k either, to be honest with you. I think it's shit, and I much prefer the old detachments.
I prefer 9th for list.
I much prefer detachments. But 40k's current greatest achievement for me, at least with the majority of factions that I play, is I cannot fit in a list everything I want.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Good,
that's true.
Because you shouldn't be able to go, I've got everything I want, cool, everything else is just chaff now. Like, I honestly, I feel like it's got to a good place now where you're going, I can't fit this extra unit of 8-bound in a way.
Yeah, that's what I
You
find.
say that unless you're an orc player, and then you can have all the best things.
Orcs are in a special category.
I don't agree.
If I was an orc player, I would have enjoyed the weekend, and then I would brace myself
I
as
think
Games Workshop hits
it
you
should be-
very hard with a nerf
That
patch.
should be boring though, wouldn't it? Playing the new orc detachment.
Yeah.
Especially like point click, point click, point click. Yeah, games.
But the thing, so I can't remember having this discussion somewhere. Is that it's like it's not boring for people who want to win,
Yeah, maybe.
right? We'll say that like people who want to win don't take average armies. People
Nah.
that want to win just take the best.
Yeah, I think we're talking
know?
in group chat about like
Yeah.
just obviously we were talking about how 3 of the 4 of the top 4 were all playing the new orc detachment at
Yeah.
the South Coast Super Major this weekend.
What
the
was first, second, third?
It was first, second, third, yeah.
Literally, the top 3 players are
Yeah.
all running the new.
and the lists
orc
are pretty
detachment.
similar as well.
Yeah.
Like it's,
Guess what detachment Brom's bringing tonight?
is he actually?
Yeah.
He'll bring the win rate down.
Brom's like, we haven't had it on stream yet, but I was like, no, Brom, because it's mental.
It's because if someone actually run it, it'll be like a half-hour
But the-
game.
but
well, someone competent, right?
But don't
Yeah,
worry,
yeah,
don't worry,
true.
right? Because Brom only has like 1 unit of.
That's the thing. Brom doesn't
the good
own
things.
30 looters, 18
No,
tank busters.
he did
15
say that.
flash
He did say
kits.
that in his message.
Well, it's
Yeah.
gonna be wrong, right? It's gonna be Gaz. It's gonna be 1 mega knob.
It will be the
1 orc in
same
mega
as it
armor,
always is.
and then it'd be like 1 truck, 1 shock, the buggy thing.
It'll be the
and then a
Walker.
squigger,
It'll be the
Bobby
whichever
Blob,
Gorkanaut
you know.
Morkanaut he has.
Yeah.
Because that
One-
one actually gets the rules.
1 Death Dread, 3.
You realise though
kilocans.
that we're going to have to watch
It
him
is.
do an orc shooting phase properly.
It's gonna
It is
be
a big mech with a shock attack gun.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Gaz, a normal mech, the Sharknado man,
Mozrog.
Mozrog.
a war boss, right? 10 boys, a truck, 5 or 6 breaker boys, a Death Dread, a Gorkanaut, some Gretchen, some Mega Knobs, some Squighog boys. Done. That's it.
Say that list again. Because I kind of zoned out because I thought you'd go on for ages.
Yeah.
no.
There's
Honestly,
not much in it.
So it's 3 characters.
he's got a big mech with a shock attack gun, Gaz Goldthracker,
Yeah.
a normal mech, Mozgrog Scragbad,
Yeah.
and a war boss.
Yeah.
He's got 10 boys
Yeah.
and a truck, 6 breaker boys, a Death Dread, another Death Dread, a Gorkanaut, a Gretchen unit, 6 Mega Knobs, and 6 Squighog boys with 2 knobs.
Oh, so he's got 2 huge units in Gaz with Mega Knobs and Mozrog with Squiggle Boys.
So I know I had originally said I was-
Squighog boys are a bold choice if he's running that detachment.
I
Because
did
they
Gaz
get-
as well.
They get. Well, I mean, there's Gaz. You could just with the Mega Knobs. You could just be like, "You're in the war every turn."
God.
Right?
That strat is better than some detachments.
Yeah.
It's essentially 6 things in one. 'Cause
Yeah.
You get 5 up in one, advance and charge, advance and shoot, +1 strength, +1 attack.
Yeah.
Like whatever rule you have as well during
Yeah.
the war.
And
It's
then-
insanity.
But the Squighog boys are an odd choice. I'm guessing he's just taking them because they're fun, right?
Yeah, he's obviously not
because
trying to
he's not taking them for
break the
any
game.
of the army rule.
Yeah.
Well,
They
this
technically
is-
shoot.
Oh, they get reroll wounds.
This
can't
is
they?
also the other reason
Oh.
why when I
Oh
originally
no, yeah, they get there's if you're on an objective you can reroll weeds and melee.
This
Yeah.
is the other reason why, when I originally said I was going to take Eldar, I might not.
Yeah.
Because I look at that army and I'm like, that's...
Sustain 2 on strength 5 against Eldar.
Well, no, it's just more the fact that I just picked that army up in seconds.
I don't know.
I don't know.
If you run a less fancy Eldar list,
It's possible, yeah.
you're probably right. But if you're doing 1,000 Suns, it probably has the same effect.
But also, I don't know, I'm not as good with Thousand Suns, but also the way Brom plays makes it very easy to pick him up in a turn.
I mean,
is true.
versus Thousands. Thousands is an odd, interesting choice because he's got a lot of damage 2, damage 3 with lots of shooting, and
He doesn't have lots of shooting.
doesn't he? Not in
He
the.
has 1 shooting unit, which is a,
He's got the.
a walker.
He's got the walk. He's got the 2 big walkers, isn't he?
He's got 1 walker.
Got Morkanaut, Gorkanaut.
I thought we just had 1.
He's got one.
Got one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he's thought about this.
There's not really any shooting.
Maybe you just take a fun army.
Like what?
Why don't you just take fun units? Just don't push his build.
Of what faction?
Take Wraiths or something.
Take Eldar. Take some Wraiths. I built all that Eldar terrain, and since I've built and painted it, you've gone, I don't care about Eldar anymore.
I do care about Eldar very
Massive
much.
waste of my time.
I very much care about Eldar, but in the last fucking 10 games I played one game of World Eaters and everything else has been Eldar, and I'm just worried or cautious that the audience might get a bit bored of it. We haven't seen Thousand Sons for a long time. We haven't seen Sisters for a long time.
Yeah, but I think chat and the viewers just understand that you're a bit of a one-pump chump, you know? It's one army, you know?
How do you figure that one out?
Just like you only play one army now, and that's
One
it.
punch job.
Fucking smashed you with World Eaters on Thursday.
That is true.
It's something different, you know? You're like,
Do corn demons.
Yeah.
That's almost different.
Yeah. Thanks, Armholio for the. Oh no, sorry. Thanks, Boldrick for the one gifted. Also, Electman, love you. I'm sorry you're feeling that way. Hopefully, it picks up for you some point soon. He has said in the chat, I've been watching it, that one of the biggest issues that he's finding isn't necessarily the actual list building mechanics himself. It's the lack of options in detachments and rules, which is definitely something I said. Armholio, thank you for the $5. What they need to do is less generic Gothic terrain, also terrain that can be dismantled for easy storage. Others can, but why not G-dubs? That's actually a huge point.
well, the kill team terrain they made was designed to be slotted together and taken apart. So there's no reason why they can't do that with generic sales stuff, you know?
Yeah, they easily could. Also, if they made like the slightly cheaper option, like it'd be a lot easier to like just put different colours and patterns on it for each set. Like the Chaos one or the Orcs one or the Eldar one.
Yeah.
But it'd basically be all the same. It would just be different colours.
I understand why it's always Gothic terrain, right? Because 40k is a game and a story about the Imperium.
They are the main character.
All the other elements of 40k exist around the Imperium. So most fights are held on an Imperial planet.
Yeah, I mean the Imperium has like 99% of the planets in the galaxy, really, don't they?
So and like anything like all the Chaos guys who are either in the Imperium or in the Warp, everything for them is based off of Imperial technology. So all their buildings and ships and stuff is all old Imperial tech. And all the Orc stuff is looted Imperial things. So the only people that bring their own stuff are Eldar, Tau, Necrons, Tyranids. Everyone else just kind of cobbles shit together from Imperial stuff. But, like, they can still do cool stuff that goes onto the table that fits in with it, like the Eldar Webway Gate.
Which is interesting because the Webway Gate itself in the Codex doesn't have rules anymore.
No.
So in 40k at least, it's almost like they're coming away from faction terrain pieces, which is why I thought it was super interesting to see that terrain piece that they showcased yesterday. But I just want Games Workshop to make terrain because I think they make the best plastic out there, and I fucking love this hobby.
I think Games Workshop could easily do 40. So what Games Workshop need to do is embrace the fact of using terrain from its other game systems, which is difficult because of the legal obligations under Lord of the Rings. Right?
Yeah.
So because Lord of the Rings terrain could quite easily be used for 40k. It's just old ruins of buildings. Because the scale's fine, the size is great, and it looks incredible. You go, it's an old Eldar place or just an underdeveloped civilization, you know, do it fine. Or just be like, on this planet, we have Gothic architecture but of a slightly different design. Just go down that route. But they just never seem to. Like, we must stick to a very strict Starbucking kind of thing, you know? Everything's just copy and paste.
I think if they could build plastic terrain that was easily dismantleable to make the ruins and the that's probably going to be slightly, because I think even things like Hammerfall bunkers, I know we've joked about it, and I know Sean's put a chat in which you'll get to in a couple of moments, but it's just a big old bulky bit of kit to carry around, isn't it, as well, really? If you think about taking your army to a friend's house to play a game, because you talked about going to a friend's house and setting up a pool table, right? There's carry cases, there's magnetic carry cases, there's really useful boxes, there's fucking foam, and you pluck the foam, pluckable foam. There's loads of ways to carry an army. Imagine also needing to take your terrain. you need a fucking huge box to fit everything in.
Well, I think,
and what you also normally have to do, and I see this at hobby shops like at Factorium, they end up going in boxes and bits go upside down, and eventually bits get broken off, and it's like.
I think so. The thing is, though, like what I've experienced over my life is that the kind of relationships that form within gaming groups tend to focus around whoever has the biggest house and the biggest space.
Yeah, true.
Right. Whoever has the most room and the most accommodating partner tends to be the place where everyone goes to play.
That's very true.
Do you also think that people in general just care a bit less about terrain? Because I could buy this £100 piece of terrain, or that gets me 2 more units for my army.
So people don't tend to care about terrain until they see nice boards of terrain. Right, and this is one of the sad things about the fact that like a lot of people haven't gone to Warhammer World. Right, most people I know who didn't care about terrain go to Warhammer World and they're like, why don't we play on boards like this? Why don't we have nice terrain? Why don't we do these things? And most of the time it's like, it's because everyone comes to my house and I haven't done it. But most people go, oh, I want to buy that building. I want to buy that building. How do I get that? And one of the saddest facts about Warhammer World's terrain situation is all based on terrain kits they don't sell anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is insane. Like, come and look at all these great things you can do, but you can't buy it from us.
It's literally an advert for their stuff, and then they're like, but we don't actually sell it.
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it? When you think about it that way.
But I think like once people see how nice terrain can be and how much it affects the game, I think people start to care about it more. Like I love bolt action, right? Bolt action terrain is not super important, but people put so much love and care into making boards look like a specific place.
Do you think though that is because we have a significantly higher amount of reference material? So it's not difficult to think about what a village in France looks like.
Yeah, but when you build a terrain for 40k, ignoring set objectives, right? You want to make a nice table. Everyone knows what a town looks like. They know what a village looks like. They know what a warehouse district looks like because we've seen it with Rise. But no one thinks like, oh, I really want to fight over a train depot. You know, we all have the capability to do it.
Some people in the hobby probably do like trains quite a lot, Joe.
Yeah.
Trains!
Right?
Yeah.
There's books where they have shootouts in train yards and things. So it's like, we all know what they look like. I just think it's a case of like, a lot of people are like, but I can't be bothered.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know? And like you said, like, a lot of people spend 500 quid on an army.
That's the thing. Because it's the cost, but it's also then the actual time and effort it takes to build and paint it, which you've already got to do for your army.
Yeah. One of my favourite groups on Facebook is the Bolt Action Terrain page. There's just a group of people that just photograph the tables that they're playing on that night. And some people's boards are incredible. There's a guy on there who makes incredible tables. Like every single table he does is different. And he has like a Bolt Action game on a Sunday. He spends his entire Saturday just making a table.
Jeez.
Creating it and making it look nice. And I'm like, that's nice.
I've learned something new about Jay today.
What?
You were in the Bolt Action Terrain Facebook group. Soups, thank you for the 5.
What's wrong with that?
Hi, peeps. There's been some stellar orc terrain over the years, particularly that Mech Workshop.
The Mech Workshop came out at the same time as Octarius came out when they had the big orc release.
And the Mech Workshop was cool as shit.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
But what happens was they released it, and like we've released use of faction terrains, and then what they always did throughout 8th and 9th edition is they gave you faction terrain with faction rules that was god awful.
Oh yeah, the rules are never ever good for it.
They're always bad. And like the Sisters of Battle had the nicest piece of terrain ever. Right, we've got one knocking about which I was going to paint, but it was so huge you couldn't put it on the table because it was an entire building with a statue in it. Right, and it's a statue from the new Kill Team, but it was massive. And it's like you can't place it within 6 inches of another terrain piece. He's like, but there's terrain everywhere. It's a physical impossibility.
Yeah.
And then the rules were you get cover if you're in it.
Yeah.
You know, like all the other buildings.
That's great.
You get one more.
Well, talking about faction terrain pieces, Sean says, thank you for the 5. Talking about Hammerfall bunkers as if their inability to drop in isn't Games Workshop's worst crime ever. Why? I mean, why? Why would you do that, my poor boy? It's worse when they then do CGI stuff and it comes crashing
It
in.
is fucking mental that thing doesn't have deep strike.
And
it
then
would
walk
still
into
be
it.
shit, but at least you could deep strike it and it would be cool.
Well, it could take flamers, can't it?
Maybe.
So you could
But-
deep strike it in and flame everyone.
But even if it's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
shit, at least it then represents narratively what
Yeah,
it
it
does.
does what it's supposed to. It's literally like a brick dropping out the sky.
A hammer that falls.
Yeah, it's in the name a little bit.
Also, Dexian's Gaming Corner, Bioxy boards are so much more fun than 40k boards. Quite me.
I
He
think-
is correct.
I think for the majority of people that's true. I would argue, genuinely would argue, with some of the stuff that we get to play on here.
Honestly-
I think 40k has a higher potential.
Yeah, but people just go L-shaped ruins, perfectly symmetrical.
Yeah.
It has
the easiest
good
option.
potential, but the amount of effort you have to put in to get there.
But you just said a guy spent his entire stats day doing it for bolt and action, and that's why it was so good.
No, you can't ruin his narrative of his own facts.
No,
true,
you
yeah.
can do that, but you could also make a nice Bioxy table in an afternoon.
Yeah.
But he just goes into extra depth.
I think if you spend the same time on each one, it'd probably be similar level of like cool stuff.
Yeah, but then I think in 40k, like people like I'm super sad. I care about park benches.
You could have stopped there.
I care about park benches and lampposts, right?
What?
On tables.
That's where he lives.
Yeah. I it's what I call a midget and a monkey, right? Which is a reference to
What are you talking
I'm
about?
very concerned.
I'm worried.
right. So there's a great
I haven't got a dump button.
there's a great Ridley Scott interview about Gladiator.
Right.
And it's with the guy who plays who's in charge of the guy, the slave owner who teaches him, right. And he's basically talking about one of the scenes where they're all in like a cafe. And he's like, Ridley Scott, he sat there on a chair and they do it and they take like 10 takes. And then Ridley Scott goes, get me a midget and a monkey. Right. And then the next take, they have it in there and he's like, perfect, done. Right. And it's like the small details. Like 40k to me, the boards are great and the boards that we have are really, really good. But if we had park benches and lampposts and roads and pavements, like it would be next level.
In terms of the way it looks, yes.
Yeah.
In terms of how you get to play that with models with bases this big now, does it not become then
Gonna be a struggle.
more like it's the thing is about action is the biggest models like tanks are about that big.
Yeah.
So when you start putting lampposts and stuff on, you're not really restricting the playability. But if you think of the base of an Imperial Knight or the artillery piece from Krieg that's like 130 mil, like one lamppost a mil, I can't place it there now. It's like a lamppost there.
Yeah, 130 mil base is a bit massive, isn't it?
Get Eddie and then you have both.
I mean, you could have like street
That's
lighting
good.
attached to buildings, so it's not.
I liked what you
So
did
you-
with the tournament Tuesday turn last week. We just put a couple of billboards up. That was cool.
Yeah.
But you used to have the little lamps that used to hang off the ruins, and you could you could add that sort of little detail. I'm here for. A lot of people with terrain, I feel like a lot of people with terrain, what they do is they leave the extra level of detail off, mostly because with Games Workshop terrain specifically, I don't have to paint it then, do I?
No.
Yeah.
I know people that
I
will leave pouches and pistol holsters off of Space Marines simply because I don't have to paint it then.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that that's just laziness, but like small details are important, like for making things to the next level, like the billboard. If you have tournament terrain, painting it grey with a bit of brown under the base, you could put posters on it. Immediately changes how it looks, or glue some leaves to it or whatever, and it just brings it up a bit. But I think people aren't living that life of like building your own terrains like a little thing. Like no one's like it's a sad fact is that terrain YouTube channels are really, really good, but they just don't get the numbers because people like just aren't interested in it.
Yeah, it's true, unfortunately. Nerek, thank you for the €5. Not only do we need more diverse non-human terrain, we need more diverse terrain rules. Bring back dense, difficult, and dangerous terrain. Yes.
Yeah, I quite liked it.
I have nothing to say to you, but yes.
Because they don't have to actually put it in tournament stuff if they don't want to. They can just have it as like casual terrain option.
But this is part of I think there's a lack of ruling in 40k at the moment for narrative play and narrative players. So we have open play, which exists in the rulebook that no one really plays.
No.
And then you have both the Leviathan and the Price Nexus mission deck. And Games Workshop's argument, and they're not wrong, but their argument is you can play anything you want.
Yeah,
you can
true.
make any mission up if you want to go.
Do whatever you want.
But players, Joe's touched on it earlier, players want to be told how to play the game. That's why Maelstrom was so incredibly good. Narratively, I think it could have an extra bolt onto the rules. If you think about the way that AOS at least did their rule sets with the different like layering of it, although they said that it was like sectioned, but it was not done sectioned at all. It was nonsense. It was like one version is this and one version is this plus the advanced rules. We've broke it down into 8 modules, but actually one's 7 modules and one's 8 modules. Anyway, what they could do is they could have a narrative module. And they go, here's some extra rules for terrain and stuff for playing narrative games to make it more immersive. But for the sake of simplicity and speed, we're not going to include that module in competitive 40k.
Yeah, definitely.
It doesn't make any sense to you.
You don't really need it to play the game at that level.
No. So that's what I would like to see, I think. But a lot of people say it's too complicated. But because it's a bolt-on module, you make sure the game works without it. And then I think it's probably fine.
It's fine, yeah.
It's also effort levels. And that's why Crusade is popular, but it's not that popular. Because I love the idea of Crusade. I'd love to do it, but I take one look at those rules. I'm like, it's a lot of admin.
Do you know what? Right.
So much admin.
But the fact they don't have an app for it.
If I didn't have this channel, if I didn't play the armies I play, if I wasn't so constantly busy with fucking Warhammer stuff all the time, I think I probably would be quite tempted to join a local Crusade and play along.
Yeah, definitely.
If I just had a normal Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job and my evenings were free to do hobbying, etc., I think I probably would join a Crusade. I think it looks like it could be a lot of fun. And I have on a number of occasions looked at bringing it in as a content piece, but the admin behind it puts me off. Because I wouldn't want to do it every single show for like 6 weeks straight, because I think some people get bored of it, so that turns off some people. You then break it to do maybe 2 shows a month, and then you've got to get back to it and remember all the rules you're at. It's just, if it's the only thing you're focusing on, if it's the only thing you're playing, I think it's fine, and you'll be fine, because it's like, I'm invested in this faction, I'm invested in this Crusade. And someone just said in chat, which is, I think, so true. I don't know someone they haven't done it, but there isn't the fact that there isn't a Crusade app is crazy.
I think
it would definitely encourage people to do it.
Also, like, one of the things that people don't like when they play their games, which is inherent in Crusade and thematic storyline, like ran event games, is that if your character dies and it's dead, that's a massive feel bad, right? Or if your character comes back but they've got degraded stats, it's just really annoying. And I'm like, and it's just like, I've spent ages building a good this army. I've painted it really nicely. It took me months. I got really excited for this event. Oh, he died game 1. I can't use him now. And then you go into a next game and your opponent's got all of their points and you've got less. You're like, this is a really poor experience. That's why I always hated Blood Bowl tournaments.
Sounds like a skill issue.
Like I like the idea that a character has a potential to die, and you perhaps play him more carefully with that potential. I like that idea a lot. But if you then playing opponent, and it's one of those things that if you lose and you get punished, and your opponent gets rewarded, and you're playing the same person every week in your Crusade, then what happens is the balance just goes like that over time, and then it's like it isn't a fun experience.
Well, it's like I used to really enjoy doing Blood Bowl leagues, right? But the problem about Blood Bowl leagues is they really encourage really hard hitting teams, like the bigger, stronger teams. Like I got the Skaven Kill team, played my first game versus Orcs. Then next game, I had four models on the board because everything else was dead and injured. And I was like, I guess you win, I suppose. And then the next game, I was like, I've got 6 models on the table. Now I have enough gold to buy some more. And it's just like, this is just a really bad experience. And then like people like would run more leagues. They're, you're going to join? I'm like, no, because I had a horrible experience in the last one. It's like, I'll come, but I only bring orcs or dwarfs because they don't die.
Yeah.
And I think if you do leagues and things like Crusade, you don't want to imply any rules on someone's army that is both a positive and a negative effect, because people just want to play with the models they have.
Yeah, but I also want there to be some kind of narrative.
I think you can imply army building rules. So if you say like, on this planet is a Imperial Guard siege regiment, right? You can't bring any cavalry units. You can't take any heavy armored tanks because all of your artillery is fixed artillery.
I also do like the threat that your favorite character that you've narratively made, who's not a named character, could die. I like that threat. The problem in 40k is everything fucking dies too easily.
Yeah.
In the less lethal edition, everything dies far too fast. So you'd actually, I think, for me, for it to work properly, you need a different rule set because characters just get obliterated in 40k.
Well, most games that when they finish, like both players have got like 2-3 units left.
Yeah, and how often do players actually have any characters left?
Yeah.
Almost never. Especially because you're just running out precision, you're dead. There you go, done. Schooner! Thank you for 5 gifted memberships. We're on 48 right now, Joe.
I hope that on a local new build estate, they name a road after you.
Schooner Street.
Pretty good.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
We're on 48, team. Like I said, we're 2 away from 50. I believe in you. Sir Stromming, Clive, and Farmer George, thank you all for the 1 gifted memberships. You're amazing. Rick, thank you for the $5. Dear Joe, since Liam has ignored my requests, I haven't, more on that in a moment, would you be willing to learn Sisters of Battle? I'd love to see them on the channel again. Paddy is currently painting a rather large Sisters army that's going to have everything pretty much we've got so far and more variety. I will probably play Deggs' army that he lent to us at some point in the near future, so don't worry, they'll come again soon. But
I like Sisters, but I promise I play like they're so similar to other armies I play. I kind of really got
Really? Like what?
Like they're just a fast moving combat army, aren't they?
just an Imperial army with slightly less toughness.
Well, no, they're a shooting army.
Sisters?
Yeah.
Nah.
100% shooting army.
Nah. Combat army.
I feel like you look at every army and think combat.
Yeah, those Retributors and all their multi-motors.
Yeah, all
Combat
those
army.
tanks and wall suits they have.
Yeah,
with all
but
the
you've also
guns.
got Repentia,
And that's their one
all
combat.
combat. Seraphim.
Or the jump people.
Oh, Zephyrim, the one was with the swords and the bolt pistols.
Yeah.
Combat. They got those big war suits. They do have a melter gun, but they've also got
2
whacking, great big power swords and maces. Combat
They
army.
are, I'd say they're closer to like Ultramarines than like combat army.
Just sod all the guns. I just couldn't be bothered with the guns. Right, that takes time and effort out of me punching people.
Shooting armies are easier.
So I both like and agree with you in that last statement. That's why I'm a big World Eaters fan.
Yeah, same.
When I was writing Dark Angels list, it was Inner Circle Companions and Deathwing Knights. So I both like and agree with you, but we do have this big issue that you present Joe opinion as fact.
Yeah.
It's factually wrong.
It's factually
Wrong.
correct to me.
Factually, something.
It's factual nonsense.
Yeah, but I base my facts on my personal opinions. That's how the internet works.
Yeah, true.
Right?
That is how the internet works. You're not wrong there.
The actual fact is that every Sisters player is running 6 tanks and 2 indirect
but they're-
organ guns.
They're boring.
Okay.
Right, they are
But
terrible
you just
human
like
beings.
you only deal in absolutes. You're just like
Tom, as I just explained to you,
Sisters-
this is the internet. It's my opinion. My opinion is facts. So,
This army that's been predominantly shooting for the entire edition is like, no, only combat.
just think of me as my own personal Reddit thread.
That is actually so true.
When you start your new job and you go onto shifts, I'm going to miss you being here.
Yeah, you're gonna.
Why?
Because arguing with
You're gonna
you
have
is
to fight
much
this
easier
battle.
when another logical person's in the room. Because the 2 logical people will be like, that's nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're basic. Right?
Erebus, thank you
What
for
a
the 10.
strong argument.
Erebus, thank you for the $10. Sorry for the sidestepping topic, but Joe, a huge thanks. May not be Games Workshop official, but Art W dropped a 60mm base scaled Erebus model, so I can finally run him. Thanks for the wish coming true.
Nice.
That is an internet fact.
What would you run Erebus as?
60% of Joe facts
Abaddon.
come true.
Bit small, isn't he?
They're about the same size, really.
I guess you could do it.
Like I think most of the time when people think about running Chaos Primarchs that only have Horus Heresy models, they just tend to run him as Abaddon because there's no other real equivalent in 40k. It's like I was like looking at Raven Guard. I'm like, I want to get the Corax model. I want to run him as, and then part of me is like, just run him as Gilliman.
You could.
Or the Lion.
Surely the lion would make more sense.
The Lion's probably closer, but Gilliman's got better rules, And there we go.
He is. Competitive Joe.
There's our narrative player.
He's more
right
tactically minded, you know. He's more, hey, double oaf.
But yeah, like we say,
He's hey, everyone gets +1 a wound.
Yeah.
if you gift 5 memberships or more, you do get yourself a Joe Hope, and as we've seen, so many of them, in fact, come true. And Erebus,
all 100% come true.
his came true, and then what he did is he gifted 5 more members, Joe.
I hope, Erebus, that the new kill team is Word Bearers versus Tyranids.
Yeah, fair. That'd be pretty cool.
Because that terrain, I am 99% sure it's kill team terrain.
Could be.
Because
that does seem to be their one avenue for terrain.
I would find it odd that, given that we've got 3 Chaos Codexes coming out, they would go randomly, here's Tyranid terrain. We forgot that narrative existed, but here's Tyranid terrain.
Yeah.
I feel like they are going to do that, though. I think it's going to be like this random kill team terrain shit that's coming out.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Jack Mayhoff and Biggie Hugs, thank you for the 1 gifted each. You people are amazing. We are now on, after the recent spaffing that happened,
59?
58.
58.
Yeah, 58. Prince, thank you for the 10. Part of it is a time issue. Are you going to spend it making, painting models, playing, or make terrain from scratch? I would love to make custom terrain pieces, but I have so much backlog I can't. Which is, I think, something you touched on earlier.
Yeah.
Like, would you rather paint your models and build your world eaters up,
Yeah.
or paint some terrain?
I'd rather do my world eaters.
The best homemade terrain I always find is old world /AOS /more time terrain, because the people that make it are really passionate about it, and some of the incredible stuff there's a couple of people I follow on Instagram, and they do like time lapse videos of them building an old inn or a watchtower. I could just watch them for hours. It's like when you find yourself at like 2 a.m. watching a video of a man build a hut in the woods.
I watched a guy build a full scale model of Minas Tirith on
Yeah.
YouTube. That was cool.
But it takes hours.
Oh, you have to be you have to be like very competent for one thing, and also have the time.
Yeah.
I look at the terrain, and I was looking. I was doing some tidying up before you guys turned up today in the office area as well, and there was a bunch of sprues on the floor next to one of the desks. And what it was out of the I think it was one of the kill team sets. It's got like little Krieg. It was like the kill team measuring sticks, and there was like little barbed wire. And I was like, it's so nice, it's so pretty. And I instantly thought about starting to snip it off and clean it up. And then I picked up a box of jackals next to me, and I was like, I could just build these though. Why would I fuck around with terrain? And so what I will say is, a lot of people have said to me in the past, which is important, and I know time is of the essence for so many individuals, but so many people I know have picked up a terrain set, painted it as a palette cleanser, and gone, well, I don't want to switch on to a different army. I'm happy painting my army, but I want a palette cleanser. Paint a bit of terrain that they can use.
Painting terrain doesn't take super. Like, the longest part of any building and painting of anything is the drying time, right? And I always say, even if you don't have long hair, own a hair dryer, because you could just hair dry your models and they just dry really, really quickly. It's like I did that Eldar terrain in
Your pants.
8 hours.
Oh.
And most of that was just drying time, because I was just spraying out in the garden. Also, the problem about like terrain is that you need a lot of space to paint it.
You do, yeah.
Like, because you have to have.
I think you need a lot of space in general, don't you?
Yeah.
Because you need a lot of space to store it, a lot of space to paint it. I think it's.
I'm pretty lucky because everyone I play with just owns their own terrain.
Yeah.
Especially
You
here.
get to come play here. Like,
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't have here to play, I think I'd have the same terrain bias if I was at home.
We are when we open up Hobby House, we're going to have so much fucking terrain. I will not let people play on Planet Bowling Ball, and for the majority of non-tournament games, I will not let people play on perfectly symmetrical L-shaped ruins because it's fucking.
You're just gonna
boring.
go over the table and just like move buildings.
Just flip it.
Yeah.
My
Stop.
house.
You're having fun the wrong way. Stop it.
Yeah. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Printers, also, thank you for 5 more. Joe Cole's Terrain Workshop at Hobby House in the future. I mean, if people
You'll
want
finally be able to use that giant bridge.
I'm gonna put it on the table tonight. Screw you.
No, God, don't do it.
I'm gonna do it.
It's so big.
It's huge.
He's
It's
never heard that
great.
before. He's never heard that before. Yeah,
No.
so I mean that's the sort of thing. Also, when Hobby House eventually opens, I spoke to James at Siege, who wants to run some painting classes. I got no problems with running terrain workshops and stuff. We can do that kind of shit, can't we? I imagine it's quite interesting. Joe's probably full of tips because he used to make lots of it from scratch and build boards and all sorts of stuff, don't you? So he's probably full of tips. I wouldn't mind betting that'd be something people would be interested. If people are interested in it, we'll run it.
Yeah, he's
We'll
got a lot of
interested.
tips in him.
He loves a good tip. Arctic Door, thank you for the 2. Scattered dice for objective placement. Oh, I miss scattered dice. Or not.
Well, what they used to do in 7th edition, I think one of the missions was you placed the objectives and then you had to scatter them afterwards, which was cool.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
Scooter, thank you for the $10. I remember back when me and a mate sat at a table and then set up a barrier down the middle of the table. Then you set up your army without seeing your opponent set up. Made so many good games. That's fun.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
Like blind deployment's fun. Yeah. I'm into
but
it.
I think that probably because of how competitive terrain has influenced the game, a lot of people, because you're supposed to like alternate when you put your models down. Apart from like infiltrating units, I don't care what my opponent's putting down their models because I put all my stuff down in the same place every time.
Pretty much the same, yeah.
All hidden.
Yeah.
No, what you do is you got to do what Brom does. Wait till your opponent's deployed their whole army, have a look, and then put your stuff down.
I find that hasn't worked well at tournaments.
Brom is...
Or for him.
Yeah. Brom's not the worst. It's Eddie.
Yeah, it is.
Right? I'll set up the board, I'll set up the terrain, like, I'll put my army down on one side of the table, and then for 40 plus minutes, he'll put his army down, pre-measuring where every single one of my units is. And I'm like, you're a terrible human being. But I was just like, just bang it down, have fun. Stop thinking. Don't think too much. You know, thinking is the same as worrying.
It doesn't do him any real favours either, does it? Evan, thank you for the 5. I get to play about 5 games a year. When we do our best to craft a fun narrative battle. I'd be down to download and donate a Joe mission pack.
That'd be cool, yeah.
If you want to write mission packs, I can then make it all fancy on PDFs.
Yeah.
It's things we can do in the future.
PowerPoint in it.
Yeah.
MS Paint.
Yeah, I would love to see you create things on MS Paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a joy to behold, I think. Tank, thank you for the 1 gifted. You're a legend. Prentice, thank you for 5 more bucks. Joe hit the nail on the head with not deviating from Games Workshop. People see it as the only official way to play, and deviating from that is, quote, wrong. I don't know if people think necessarily deviating is wrong, although I agree with the rest of what you're saying. I think people just don't necessarily have the kind of level of creativity to come up with something fair and balanced.
The only time people have deviated from Games Workshop was 8th edition ITC. Became the established
Do you think
way
though,
to play
when
the
it comes to
game.
deviating for narrative rules purposes and for custom missions, do you think people are slightly too worried and concerned about balance? Do you think that they just don't have the ideas and concepts, or do you think it's a bit laziness, or what? Like, why do you think?
I think maybe people just don't have the spare time to think like, well, this is like the one time I'm going to play a game, and I can't be bothered to think of a rule set to play it off. So like, I'm just going to play whatever the current mission pack is.
My experience of people creating their own rules and kind of publicising them and putting them out either make them way too complicated, like over the top mental, or they create missions and tables and layouts and they go into this huge amounts of detail, and like I said, there's no balance. You're like, this is very much like a lose-lose for one person.
The thing is, though, is I think people could be encouraged to, or people should be reminded that you can change the rules 2 turns in. We've done it before on stream where it looks like it's going to go. We're playing a narrative game. We did it in the garage before, playing a narrative game, and it's like, oh, this looks very one-sided. We haven't quite got our rules right here. Cool. Your Tyranid 1 wound Tyranid models can just can constantly respawn. Oh, we've put some balance back in here. Yeah. Like, you can change the rules mid game to make it fun.
I think if one person goes, I want to put down 1,000 points, and you can put down your 4,000 point army, I'll just see how long I survive.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
I did one where it was like you had like one person was the defender and they had loads of units, but then the other person's units respawned, and you could come back on and like see how long it would take you to get past them. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Average British nerd, thank you for the pink one. One reason I abandoned 40k for Necromunda is because it's all about the narrative. The only terrain consideration is line of sight and cover. Otherwise, you can create whatever you want, including multi-story boards. The rule set for Necromunda looks fucking incredible. The problem I have with it is I'm just not inspired by the model range at all.
Oh, I think next to AOS, Necromunda has the best model range.
I just not. I don't mind the Ash Waste Nomads. I like those quite a lot.
Those are cool.
Everything else, I'm like, meh. Don't really care.
They're special characters that they do in the resin stuff is great. Like
Well, that is
over the top, mental, stupidly elaborate people.
That's like, the second you say the word resonate, you instantly lose interest.
With like like crazy suits and massive dresses and wigs and stuff, like canes, pimping. Great, I love him.
Yeah,
I've heard so many incredible things about the rule set, but I need models to sing to me. I can't build and play a faction in 40k where I don't like the models.
yeah. Same.
I really like the Necromunda, Secundus, like Gene Stealer cult stuff. They're great. With the really messed up Gene Stealers and like the really messed up like Zonophrope. It's the reason why Tyranids have never attacked Necromunda is because they know that there's Gene Stealers on there and they're all messed up. They don't want them to be part of the hive mind.
Each their own. I'm not a fan. I'm not a huge fan. I don't love them. Some of them are quite nice. I'm not in love with them. I've never looked at a kit and gone, I need to own that.
No, I think they usually look pretty cool, but
I'm not saying they don't look cool.
I've never seen. Yeah, same really. I've never been that interested in it, to be honest. But I'm also not that interested in the small scale games.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm less bothered about small scale as well. I don't like skirmish games like Kill Team or Warcry or Necromunda. I say Necromunda's less skirmish. They just don't appeal to me.
I think the only small scale one I kind of liked was boarding actions. I did enjoy that.
Do you know why small games don't appeal to you?
Why?
Because you've got space to play the big games.
It's probably got a lot to do with it. But then saying that, when I used to live in a 2-bed house, I wouldn't play small games.
I've got a lot of friends who don't have space for big tables, and they all love Warhammer and they have 40k armies, but they are all into Necromunda, Warcry, boarding action stuff because they're like, I can make a bunch of terrain and boards and just store it in a box.
Yeah.
Just get it,
but the thing is, like I said, when I used to live in a 2 up, 2 down, I still played 40k. That's all I've played. So I've never really played the small stuff. That's a lie. I played Kill Team when it was the first version, and you could just use 40k models and make your own kill teams. When it was actually just miniature 40k rather than nonsense it is now. Thank you, anyway, Average British Nerd, for the big pink one. That's incredible. I love you. Thanks, Soups, for 5. You're all wrong. Deus Ex City of Heroes. Slay the Spire. I'll allow points for Bioshock, though. Literally putting my money where my mouth is. I've never played Deus Ex, or Bioshock, or City of Heroes.
I played Deus Ex, and I got bored.
Soups is here soon as well.
Yeah, well, I'll fight him. I'll fight him in a car park. I just think...
I'd put The Witcher 3 in the list of top games as well, actually.
There are games that I really, really like. Bioshock will always be my favourite, but like Resident Evil Village is an incredible game. Like I'd put that second favourite game. Like there's like Fallout 4, incredible game.
In terms of old games, the original Battlefront 2 I'd put in.
Ooh, Battlefront 2 was great.
That was banger.
Yeah.
I played that so much.
I think the biggest problem we've got nowadays is no one makes good story games. I really struggle to find good story games that I enjoy.
The best one I've done recently is the Jedi Fallen Order games. They're really good. I can't really think of other ones.
I think I started playing the one, and I was like on a planet, like a craggy planet, and I found like a big monster in a cave, and I couldn't beat it, so I just stopped playing.
There's a
quit.
Yeah, I was just like done.
There's a boss battle at the beginning of the game that like is almost impossible to do at the beginning of the game because of how like low level you are.
Yeah.
And you basically have to finish the game before you can beat it. But they've just put it in there to like give people the chance to try and like 1v1 him instantly.
But I was like, I don't like it. So I tried playing The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
And that went along. I was going along, and you ride my horse down a hill, and I fought some little fucking goblin thing, and that was great. And then there was like a skeleton on a beach. I'm like, I'll go mess him up. Smash me in like 20 times. I'm like bored now. I don't like games that give you opponents you can't beat. They go, you have to come back and fight him later. But at no point do they go, you have to come back and fight him later. Like,
I think it's fine. Just has it's optional fighting. Like,
yeah.
You can just play the whole story, or you can
just give him a flag that says optional, fight me later.
Yeah.
Coordinator Ed said Cyberpunk 2077 is a game with a good story. The problem I had with that is I bought that game on release because I was so fucking excited for it, and then it just wouldn't work.
Did you have it on PC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then after a couple of weeks of it just not working and kept crashing and dying and stuttering, I was like, fuck it. And I still own the game and I haven't played it since.
My friend did the same thing. He is saying now it's like one of the best games he's ever played, but it took him like months to fix it.
Yeah, it works now.
Bad.
I just can't get into it now. It's too late.
It's like super ready. I did play Guardians of the Galaxy. It was all right.
I didn't really like Guardians of the Galaxy.
The problem is when they release games for things that have well-established films and TV, when they make them not look like the people from the films and the TV, it's like it fully throws me.
Yeah.
Right? Star-Lord didn't look like Chris Pratt immediately. Rocket didn't sound like
Bradley Cooper.
Like Bradley Cooper. And I was like, I don't like it.
I just didn't think the gameplay was that good.
It was good. I really enjoyed a Suicide Squad kills the Justice League.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was awful.
Right, but I only enjoyed it playing as Harley Quinn. Right, and what's what? Right, and the reason I enjoyed playing as Harley Quinn because her gameplay is exactly the same as Batman and the other Batman games because she's got a grappling hook and that's how she gets around and fights stuff. Yeah.
Harley Quinn?
It's like I really enjoyed Gotham Knights, which is the one
so bad.
Right, but the only reason I enjoyed playing it is because Batgirl. It's because of Batgirl, right? And she plays exactly like Batman. You're just playing Batman in a different.
Right now, Joe.
Yeah.
Those are two terrible games that just have very attractive female characters in.
It helps. It goes a long way, right? But at the same time, they released 2 games that should have just been a Batman game.
Yeah.
Like if they just reskinned it into Batman, it would have been fine.
Soups. Oh, no. Okay, there's no hope for Joe.
Joe.
Kazarian, thank you for the 5. GW makes great terrain sets, but rarely the narrative to match. Boarding actions equals S-tier terrain for C+ rules. The Kill Team oil rig also one's also slap. I'm inclined to mostly agree. Mostly agree. But they do that. I would say the boarding actions rules could be better for the terrain. They're kind of
I think
like an afterthought.
It was really. The thing is though, it was like they did this really annoying thing where they were like, Kill Team is its own rule set, separate to 40k, and then boarding actions was like kind of like Kill. It was like kind of like 40k, but different. And I really enjoyed boarding actions, and we really enjoyed it, and we really liked it. But we just found after a while that it was like every game was a foregone conclusion. Like you knew.
Well, melee just wins.
Yeah, melee going second, you win.
Yeah.
Great, done. And it was sad. And then like they took too long to get the supporting rules out. They were like, you can have supporting rules for this, and we're gonna do like 4 factions per book, but it's gonna take an entire year to get out. So like it was like World Eaters came last.
I don't remember.
Or like there were a couple factions that came last. It's like great, I've got no rules for this entire game.
I remember playing like a couple of games of World Eaters, which was fun because you could just essentially run through walls. Because they were so angry, they would just go through the wall.
Yeah, but the terrain was great. I love using the terrain.
Cool terrain.
We've used it on the channel, and
You're right there, you're a bit tired.
yeah, I am actually. We've used it on the channel. We've had really, really good games of it. But that's because I just made a cool ship board, and we used normal 40k rules. The only rule was you couldn't go through the walls, you can go through the doors.
Doors, yeah.
And it was fine.
Wee Man, thank you for 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you, wee man. I hope that you invent a new coffee.
Oh,
Yeah, like everyone's really enjoying like coffee that's been passed through an animal, don't they? At the moment, like
That
the
is
bat
the thing,
coffee
yeah.
and the cat coffee.
not that though. Let's not invent that.
Right.
Let's do something
Like,
different.
Yeah, like passed through a homeless person.
Let's invent a coffee that doesn't involve feces.
Yeah, or like you've crushed it up using Lego.
Yeah.
I don't know. You come up with it.
This is also the first time in a while I wasn't like, he's a vegetarian. I was like, I bet he said something meat related.
Yeah,
and he didn't. Well done, Joe. Well done. Ash, thank you for the 2. Can Liam play the Nids for the laugh? I'd love to play Nids one day. I've played them before. I'm not
Nids are cool.
that fussed about playing them though, so I don't know if it'll be that
They're
much.
mine, Ash.
It's a laugh, to be fair. Yeah. Well, Master Will, thank you for the 2. I play gun lines. Take all buildings out. Easy.
No, well, you play guard. You just run artillery.
Yeah.
You don't care about buildings.
He's been playing Admech recently.
He does, yeah.
I think
He's a sadist.
I think this weekend might have broken him though, because I was speaking to him afterwards. Like, I think I can't do Admech anymore.
Every time I see him, he's really excited at the start of the day.
Yeah.
And then I see him
5 games of UKTC Admech, I think, have finally broken him.
I'm not surprised.
I think the only way of running AdMech, I think, is just all Castellan.
To be fair, though,
the
only person who wasn't playing Orcs in the top 4 was playing AdMech.
Yeah.
Really?
Wee Man says he hates coffee with a passion. You don't have to like coffee, Wee Man. You have to invent a great one that everyone else likes.
Yeah, because the rest of the
all the
world
money,
likes coffee.
yeah.
And then they all buy it and you're rich.
Isn't like coffee like one of like the second or third most expensive liquids? Like when you buy it, when you buy it over the counter, it's like one of the most expensive
like a coffee
liquids.
shop.
Yeah,
It could be, yeah.
like compared to
mean,
like diesel or petrol.
Don't drink diesel, Joe.
No, but like if you're like when you like, you know exactly what I mean. You're just being a bitch.
Stu, thank you for the 5. As a new player, started at the end of 9th, I know I am still learning. Is there any terrain rules I need to know? Is there anything I should know? Anything I should ignore? You need to know obscuring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should probably know cover save.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to know anything else.
That's about it.
And
you got to know, like, if depending on whether you're standing in terrain or not in terrain, you have obscuring or
yeah,
not.
and if you're playing a little bitch like Eddie or Paddy, they'll be like, I can see the tail of your monster, or I can see the tassel of that man's sword.
His nipples poking out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The tip of that guy's helmet is looking over the top, so I can now shoot and kill your entire unit.
Mostly, if you learn the obscuring rule, and then you work out when you do and don't have cover, you've got all of terrain. Then it's really that
And
simple.
plunging fire.
Don't worry about plunging fire.
No,
Ignore
no.
plunging
To
fire.
be fair, people have actually started doing it.
I do think they need to change terrain rule in terms of line of sight, that you have to be able to see the base.
It used to be that, didn't it? In
Yeah.
9th.
Because there's so many times where I've like positioned my unit behind a building and they've gone, oh, I can see the claw of that Tyranid, or they can see, like, I can see that guy's sword. And I'm like, but you can't see the rest of them. He's like, yeah, but I can still shoot him.
Yeah.
And the best I've wanted to throat punch someone. I'm like, are we really doing this?
I've
I'm
had it-
like, how about I twist the model? No, you can't see it. And they're like, yeah, but I could see it. So
I've had that exact conversation when I was playing Custodies, and like the guy's spear was like this, and then he's like, oh, I can see that little bit of a spear there. I was like, why can I just turn it? I was like, no, you moved it now. We can't do it. I was like, cool,
Yeah.
thanks, good game.
Yeah, I concede.
Yeah. You can
That's
have the
awesome.
game, mate,
I'm not
because you care
interested.
about this way too much.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
clearly a knob.
like, I think people, like, I think Games Workshop needs to adjust how line of sight
Especially like
and
there's
terrain
so many like
interacts.
kit bashes and different versions
Yeah.
you can make, which they're essentially discouraging people to make cool
Yeah.
poses.
And then the moment you play against someone who ignores cover, you know that they're going to use it to their full extent. They're like, oh, I'm going to shoot you. So, well, I get a cover save because you can't see my base. And they're like, that's cool, I ignore cover anyway. So, whoop. I'm just like, fuck you, Paddy.
What-
Yeah, I was gonna say this seems very
What's
targeted.
that
to
problem?
Tau.
At least you know that you just don't get cover save.
Yeah, but it's,
I
think
don't mind
like,
people ignoring cover. That's just a rule.
When
just
people
don't-
when people have a rule, they use that rule.
Yeah.
No, but what really annoys me is when you've got a wall and they go, I'm gonna put my las cannon out like that. You can't see my base.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot you, and then you go, cool. I get cover, and they're like, do you? I was like, yeah, because you can't see me. You're just blind firing around a corner. I'm like, I just think it's a case of if the base can see the base, it's fine, especially in competitive, because there's nothing really that exists on the table that's going to block out bases. When it's like a unit shooting another unit, I think bases can block line of sight of other bases. That's not a problem. Or can't block line of sight of other bases because you go, it's clearly a very straight line between the two of you. But I think when models are stood behind walls shooting out the top of a back banner, that needs to go.
I think the problem is it will never be a thing that can ever happen because of the way people are. But I think you just need common sense.
Yeah.
If I'm seeing the tip of someone's banner or the tip of a custodian spear, I'm not shooting at you.
No.
Because that's nonsense
Mental.
words. But if I'm seeing the front of a tank track but the base is behind a wall, well, I can still see part of the vehicle.
Like if you can
know.
see a part of a tank, it's probably worth shooting that part of the tank.
Yeah.
But I think it's also like, you got to think like, so for instance, like the hammer strikes, the storm speeders, right? You measure from the base, but people go, oh, but I can see the corner of your vehicles. Yeah, but my corner of my vehicle, there's like 2 millimeter of it poking around a corner.
Yeah.
And I can't shoot you from that part of the model. So you can't shoot.
It's the Magnus problem of he's gone like, I'm here, shoot
Yeah.
me.
Omar asks, explain to me how can a gun with AP0 have ignore cover? What does it matter? Real question. What does ignore cover do on the incursor's gun with AP0? So, if you have a unit that has a 6-up save and they are 50% obscured by cover, they get a cover save, which is +1, which takes them to a 5+ save. The only time that doesn't happen is if you go to a 3+ save, because if they out of cover, they don't go to a 2. So you can't improve it anywhere near past a 3+ save.
Yeah.
There are units out there, for example, that have a 7+ save, which means if they're behind cover, they go to a 6+ save. At that point, your incursors would ignore that cover save and they go back to a 7 and they wouldn't get a save at all.
Yeah.
So it is not all that common. There's a fair amount of like 5+ save, 6+ save, 4+ saves out there, guard, orcs, some Eldar stuff, you know. So it actually, at that point, does matter. If they are in cover, they would improve to a 3+ or a 4+ or a 5+, and then the incursors would ignore that. So at that point, it kind of counts as an AP1. Hope that helps. Tony Winnick and Whitey55, thank you for the 1 gifted each. We are on, by the way, 59.
Oh.
If they gave 10...
Oh, if they gave 10, that would be the position I came in at the South Coast Super Major.
Oh, yeah? And then what about your tournament result? Whee!
Yeah.
Thank you, Mordy Hammer, for 5 gifted memberships.
Mordy
Hammer, the hammer of the Mordy.
I hope that you go to a car boot sale and someone's selling tables and tables worth of nicely painted Warhammer terrain cheap.
Super cheap.
That'd be good.
I like that one. That's relevant as well. Well done there. That's good work, Joe. And then thank you, Mr. the Stu Will. Not Will Stewart, Stu Will. So he's not in New Zealand, he's in Ireland. For the 5 gifted memberships.
I hope that your boss isn't a sarky bitch.
He said earlier that 2 of your hopes for him came true.
Yeah?
One of them was that he has his next takeover was the best ever, and it was. And the next one was that he got a pay rise, and he did.
Yeah.
So he told you,
It's
Joe hopes has come
100% guarantee.
I understood that cover can only improve saves as AP involved. No, it doesn't need to have AP involved. It's relevant for Space Marines though. Space Marines are a 3+ save. They're in cover. It can't go to a top. But if you're AP1, it could ignore that pip of AP because you take you back to a 4+, they go back to a 3+. So cool. Right, and it's almost exactly 2 hours on the nose as well. Look at that. Yeah, fancy. We'll wait just in case anyone wants to get those members to 69. Also,
What about Keith Rogers?
We'll just sit.
Yeah,
What about
no,
Keith?
super
Have I missed the super chat at the end there? Oh, something came through right at the end. Sorry, Keith. Thank you for the $5. Is there a guesstimate on the time until the arrival of Liam's Necrons? No. Lee, who's painting them, has sent me some photos of stuff that he's done so far, and that's very pretty. However, he's also not long started a brand new job. So I've said to him, just focus on that job and that routine for now, and once it settles, he'll probably start painting again.
He's also very good at painting, so I imagine it's not going to be a quick job.
No, and I was talking to him this weekend, and he was and encouraging him to buy. He's a huge Assassin's Creed fan.
Is he?
So I was like, well, Shadows has just come out, and he's like, if I buy that, I'm going to get even less stuff painted. I was like, it's up to you, mate. I don't mind too much.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd buy the new Assassin's Creed.
Shadows?
Yeah.
It looks, as a game, it looks very pretty. And the reviews say at least that the combat and that level of that kind of experience in the game is very
watched some
good.
videos on the combat.
The gameplay was not inspiring from what I've seen.
Have you played it?
No.
okay.
I just
I
watched
watched people play it. I was watching Stod play Atomfall yesterday. That looks good.
Play who?
Atomfall.
I re-downloaded Grand Theft Auto 5 because they sent me. Well, I say they sent me. It appeared in my Steam library. Grand Theft Auto 5 Enhanced Edition. And I clicked on it. It basically said they've given it to everyone who already had the game for free. You can download the Enhanced Edition. I was like, cool. So I uninstalled the game, downloaded and installed the Enhanced Edition. This is where the game chat came from yesterday. Turned it on and was like, I forgot how fucking good this game is in basically every way. Every way. So fucking good. And it's pretty.
I think my stresses with open world games like that is that you can have too much going on. I think sometimes I get bored, like with some of the things, because in the end I just feel like I'm just driving around, just doing nothing at that point.
You can do whatever you want.
How do you get bored in an open world game?
How do you get bored with doing whatever you want?
You just said there's too much going
He's
on.
perfectly
but you
okay.
get bored.
He's perfectly okay with doing the same fucking Space Marine operation 84 times to unlock a
that
skin.
is true.
But he gets bored of being able to go anywhere he wants.
That's crazy.
That's Joe
I
logic.
played
That's
it.
like top Joe logic.
I played it and I was just like, I'm bored now.
I don't understand that.
I think I just don't like Grand Theft Auto.
It could be that.
I really enjoyed 3.
Have you enjoyed any open world game?
I mean, I've played and loved every Grand Theft Auto.
I mean,
I've only played 5.
I've played Fallout 4 a lot, but I really like the world and the universe and the gameplay. I'm playing
Fallout 4 is incredible.
Do you like any of the Witcher games?
I've only played. I only tried to play the third one. I own it. So I bought it on sale a a couple of months ago because I was like, oh, it's like a £5.
Yeah.
I'll
it's
buy
so
it
cheap now.
because people were, and I'll give it another go. I'm playing. What am I playing at the moment?
Pornhub doesn't count.
Outer Worlds at the moment.
What's that?
It's basically Fallout in space, which is really cool. Atomfall looks really good. It's basically Fallout in England, set in the 70s, 80s.
Mectoplasm says, open world, don't like it. Optional boss killing, kicking my ass, don't like it. Horrible Batman games, sold.
Yeah, mate. What are you on with games, man? Like the two games you've said you've liked are fucking awful.
The thing
If you want to play one of them, just play Arkham Knight again.
Right, I won't say how I got, but I didn't pay for them. Right.
Yeah.
So that was
them.
an immediate benefit for both of those games. I didn't pay for them. So I think if I had paid for them, I'd probably be disappointed.
I would rather just play Arkham Knight again than play any of those.
Yeah.
Arkham Knight probably the best like open world game I've ever played.
Omar, thank you so much for €2. He says, thanks guys, you're awesome. Oh,
You're
Thank
awesome.
you.
You're awesome. Yeah, I this is where I have my issues with Space Marine, right? And it's not a bad game. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I think it's a very good game. I think I've said it before, graphically, visually, audio, massive, like triple fucking A star for the way they captured the 40k universe. I think they did an incredible job. But I played all the operations and I played all the campaign. And I was like, cool, I'm done. I'm bored. Because nothing I do now is going to be any different, really, from what I've done so far.
I love it.
I think I'm kind of in between you two because I really like playing them. I really like leveling up all the individual operators and playing that. But I don't have the dedication that Joe has of like the new thing of essentially 100%ing the game on every little mission they do, like, you know, running through 1,000 cultists, still playing the same mission 12 times.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is where I sometimes have slight issues with even the Assassin's Creed games. So I'll probably pick Shadows up because I've played every Assassin's Creed. But the issue I have is you get about halfway through it and it starts to become quite repetitive. Despite the fact it's open world, it gets quite repetitive. Go here, kill that person. Go here.
Well, no, what it is, I really enjoyed Valhalla.
I love Valhalla.
But I got bored of Valhalla because it was like, go into an area, climb a tower, look around, go to another area, climb a tower, look around, and then all the little micro missions in the middle are very, very samey. I like the story, I like the ship play. Like, Valhalla was my favourite of the recent.
I really like
Black Flag?
I never played Black Flag.
Black Flag's
Flag
incredible.
was fucking
Black
incredible.
Flag was like an incredible Assassin's Creed game, but then also an incredible pirate ship game at the same
Black
time.
Flag was like I'm a Viking fan over a pirate fan, as everyone knows. Black Flag was the best they've done in a long time.
I think it was probably the best game they've done.
Yeah, I think.
I loved Odyssey because I loved all the ancient Greek stuff, and I loved Valhalla because all the Viking stuff is really fun. But I don't think they were actually like better games.
No.
Yeah.
But GTA 5,
I do find that like there are, I don't know what the specific things are in games that get me addicted to them. Like I just played them and I really like it. Like Division 1 I loved. Division 2 I really enjoyed, but like it was really, really good. But like GTA, get bored.
I'm pretty addicted to Marvel Rivals right now, mainly because of the rank system. And
I
just
also
like doing competitive stuff.
I also have to say, to be fair, that part of it is because I played GTA 2 when it first came out. I then went and bought GTA 1 and played that. And then I've played every single one since. So I'm like heavily invested in the franchise.
I played like GTA 3 and Vice City and that. I played to death. I didn't like San Andreas. And I think I played... What was the one where you got where you played the Russian? Is he Russian guy?
You didn't like San Andreas?
No. I know people were like bang on about it, but I was just like, nah.
Black Flag was 2013. So was Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto was 2013.
Yeah, man.
It's a fucking 12-year-old game, and it still offers you more options, more playability, and more like freedom than games that come out nowadays that are open world games.
I occasionally
offers you more.
go back. Obviously, I go back and play Dawn of Wars. Sometimes I just find myself going back and randomly playing a couple of hours of Age of Empires 3. There's something about sending villagers out to cut wood, create little farms, and kill animals. I'm like, I don't care about the fighting bit. I just want to micromanage a small civilization.
You've done Total War much?
No, I tried playing the Total War Warhammer, but it's really slow.
I don't love it.
I
I have to play it in like super fast speed. for anything.
I
to
really
happen.
enjoy it. I like Old World a lot, and then it was just like the replacement for Old World essentially.
Mandy, thank you for $10. I see you guys have been talking about Ubisoft slop. Black Flag was the last decent Ubisoft game, and this is coming from someone with 500 plus hours in the Division. 2 was a downgrade.
Yeah,
That
Ubisoft kind of sucks
So
now.
the first Division, I basically gave my life to.
Was that
so
that
good.
was open world?
I think Bron played a lot of that. as
Open
well,
world, like sleeper agent in Manhattan.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was basically COVID, post-COVID, or pre-COVID.
I think my favourite Ubisoft game was For Honor. I don't know if you played that, where
Yeah.
it's like melee combat stuff, like as a multiplayer. And then Rainbow Six Siege is really good. That was Ubisoft. But yeah, recently they've been on a proper downturn.
Do you know what we need? Rainbow Six Vegas to come back.
Yeah.
And then they just have all their
I,
money back.
I think what we need, I'll be honest, is Ubisoft to just fuck off and die now.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Their new Star Wars game did so badly as well.
I think the problem is that they have the capacity to make good games, like Division. I really I'm a massive fan of all the Tom Clancy stuff. Like the Division, Ghost Recon, Wildlands was great, and the one that came after might be what I can't remember. There's Badlands. Basically the one that came after, which had the Shane from The Walking Dead in it.
Oh yeah, that was really good actually.
That was an incredible game, right? And then Ubisoft just it didn't sell nearly as well as the one before, despite the fact it being an incredible game. So after 3 months, they were like, no more support, closing it off. But yet Division 2, which is 6-7 years old now, they're still giving full support to. This bugs me.
It is weird.
Bugs me. And I'm like Breakpoint, incredible game. I bought it when I got really ill with COVID. I basically just spent 3 months just playing Breakpoint and Aliens Fireteam Elite.
I'll probably get AC Shadows because I've played all the AC games and I like Assassin's Creed, but I don't know, I'm more concerned. I feel like for me, for Assassin's Creed, Black Flag was peak, and I've always built a new one up and gone, it'll be as good, and it's not.
Was Black Flag the last of that type that came out before they started doing the open world stuff?
Yeah, maybe.
It might be.
Mandy, thank you for the $10. Far Cry 4 had potential, but the same explore tower open area got boring. And story-wise, not being able to join Pagan was a big L for them. The two ending options were both terrible. I got bored of Far Cry 4 fast, and I got bored of Assassin's Creed. And I don't typically get bored of Assassin's Creed. I just feel like the last few have been a bit more tedious. I think with Black Flag, the big thing was when they introduced all the pirate stuff, you had a whole different way of playing. Don't fancy going and doing Climb Tower, Murder Man today. I'll fuck around on the ship for a while. And I thought that was quite good.
Yeah,
it
because you make your ship super juiced up as well.
Yeah.
Do you need to bring back Assassin's Creed? They need to bring back Ezio. Just remake.
Ugh.
I think my favourite ones were Unity, Black Flag, and maybe 3.
Which one was 3?
3 was the Native American one.
Yeah, that was a good one. I played that a lot, and that was really good.
You had the
fun.
Tomahawk in that one.
But I think Assassin's Creed 2 was the best.
I didn't play that one.
And the follow-up to that one. The Ezio storyline was incredible. But maybe I'm just thinking of sweeter times in life where I didn't have to pay rent or tax.
Yeah,
or
it might be that,
job.
mate. It might just be the relationship to your actual life
Yeah.
event at that point. Anyway, we are now 10 minutes over. I was waiting for you all to hit 69 members. It didn't bother. They left it at 59.
Sad times.
Tom, thank you so much for hanging out with us, you wonderful people. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show today. If you've got anything more you want to say about today's topic, please feel free to stick it in the comment section below after the stream has finished. Minus 100 internet call points if you enjoy AC Shadows. I don't care about internet call points, so you can say. Maybe I can enjoy it and not give a shit about call points ever.
No, you have to agree with everyone.
I think you'll go and cry in the shower later.
Like I said, if you've got anything to say on the topics, any of the topics like that, stick them in the comment section below. It helps the algorithm, and I do read all of the comments. If you haven't already, please make sure you smash that like button if you've enjoyed the stream. 160 of you have done that already. Thank you so much, you wonderful human beings. Thank you for all the gifteds and thank you for all the super chats today. You people have been amazing. Tonight, we have a live game of Warhammer 40k on the channel at 7:30. I'll be taking Brom on. Joe's on the deck with you hanging about.
Yeah, could do.
So Joe and Tom on the deck this evening. And then tomorrow we've got the Warhammer show. Thursday's a normal set of shows. And Friday we come back with After Dark as well. So hopefully we'll see you tonight at 7:30. If not, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, wonderful time.
Bye.